I was lying on the bed in my guest house room when my boss called me during my vacation, just to ask where the feather duster was in the office. I wanted to scream. After calming down, I checked my phone and found a rafting ticket that came bundled with my scenic area pass. It expired today, so I decided to go. Not because I'm cheap or anything. I stood in the hot sun for 2 hours. There were no handsome lifeguards like the ads promised, just a middle-aged guy with a beer belly barely fitting into his life vest. And then there was this kid on the boat, screaming and jumping around, demanding cola from his mom. The noise was killing me. I tried to stay far from the kid, but it didn't matter. The boat hit a whirlpool. Everyone tilted to one side, and the brat knocked me straight into the water. I flipped off the sky as I fell. I can't swim. I thrashed around, but the current dragged me down fast. My last thought before blacking out was, why is this river so deep? When I came to, I couldn't open my eyes, couldn't speak, couldn't move. My mind was awake, but my body was locked. I panicked. Was I a vegetable now? I have no family. Would they just declare me dead and cremate me? Then something cold and slimy brushed my cheek. It wasn't a hand or any medical tool. It felt like some kind of animal. My skin crawled. I drifted in and out. At some point, something sweet flowed into my mouth like coconut milk. I was so hungry I swallowed it without thinking. There was a faint smell of blood nearby, coming from whoever was next to me, but I was too weak to care. I figured I'd been turned into someone's stored food. Later I started shivering. I felt like I was walking barefoot through snow. Then warmth came, something like a blanket and a small fire. I sank back into deep sleep, finally comfortable. I had no idea that the one taking care of me was a giant black snake, thick as a barrel, with blood-red eyes. He had pulled me from the water, carried me to his cave, and fed me a precious crystal stone to save my life. His own body was falling apart, scales dropping off, wounds bleeding everywhere because he had interrupted his own transformation to rescue me. He thought I was cute. He wished I could be his mate. And now he was sitting by the fire, poking my cheek with his tail, watching over me through the night, wondering how to keep me alive once the cold season came. I was still trapped in my body, unable to move or speak, when things started changing fast. First, I felt someone nearby, a person this time, not that cold, slimy thing. They gently lifted me up and fed me that sweet coconut milk drink again. My body soaked up the energy, like a dying fish getting a splash of water. Helpful, but not enough. My stomach filled up quickly, and the weakness pulled me back under. Then a voice spoke right next to my ear. Don't forget me. My name is Mo Huan. It startled me so badly my scalp went tight. But I was happy someone was here, someone who could talk. Maybe I could communicate. Maybe I had a chance to survive. The weird thing was, the language he spoke wasn't anything I'd ever heard before, but somehow I understood it perfectly. My relief didn't last long. Suddenly that cold, slippery feeling was back, wrapping around my waist. I was being carried out of wherever I'd been lying. Was he abandoning me? We had just communicated. What was going on? What was this thing? After a while of being dragged along, I was placed on something soft. The sun beat down hard on my face, but then something blocked it. Thoughtful, I guess. But the next second something bit my ankle. I wanted to scream, but couldn't. Then I felt a tongue licking the wound, and the pain faded as it healed. I was left there with some supplies placed beside me. Soon I heard heavy footsteps approaching and voices talking, again in that strange language I somehow understood. Why is there a female here? She's the most beautiful female I've ever seen. Did a snake beast man kidnap her and then abandon her? Why isn't she moving? Between those words and everything that had happened over the past 2 days, it finally hit me. I'm an avid reader.
Eva consumed countless novels.
And all the signs pointed to one impossible conclusion. I had transmigrated into another world. A beast man world. Then someone picked me up. Warm arms.
Strong.
Muscular. The kind of body I'd only seen on those fitness influencers back on my phone. My toes curled involuntarily, the only part of me that seemed to work. His name was Bai Hung, apparently the leader of a white tiger tribe. He held me carefully and ordered his men to grab the supplies left beside me, then started running through the forest toward their settlement. They were worried about me. I hadn't moved at all despite all the noise and commotion. If not for my steady breathing and heartbeat, they might have thought I was dead. Little did Bai Heng know, while I lay perfectly still in his arms, my brain was busy writing an 800-word essay about his physique. I was carried into the white tiger tribe with beast roars echoing all around. Word had already spread that a new female had arrived, so the chief and the tribe's healer were waiting in the square. A crowd of beastmen gathered to stare at me. The chief, Bai He, was Bai Heng's father. He raised an eyebrow seeing his son hold me so carefully. Apparently Bai Heng had always insisted on waiting for a divine match before taking a mate. But Bai Heng ignored his dad completely and rushed me straight to the healer, a young-looking guy named Yang Yi. The healer placed his hand above my body and sent a wave of green energy flowing through me. I felt a tingly, numb sensation everywhere, but still couldn't move or respond.
Come on, I thought.
You're a healer, right? Can you fix a vegetable? Asking for myself. It's urgent. The healer finally spoke. He said my body had gone through something called a self-awakening due to severe trauma, but because it wasn't led by a proper priest with divine power, my consciousness got trapped. Crystal stones wouldn't help. I'd already absorbed one, and my body didn't lack energy. One more stone would have made me explode. The room went quiet. The beastmen felt sorry for me. Some single guys who'd been eyeing me because of my looks quietly slipped back into the crowd. Then someone announced, "The high priest is here." In walked a tall, slender young man wearing a colorful feathered crown and a long ceremonial robe, carrying a bone staff decorated with beast cores. His name was Chiyue. He circled around me a few times, then said in a bored voice that I needed divine power, and the only way to get it now was through a mate-matching ceremony. Apparently, when a female gets matched with a mate for the first time, the goddess grants divine power. The chief asked if it could work while I was unconscious. The healer stroked his beard, unsure. But they decided to try anyway. If I kept sleeping, my energy would eventually run out, and I'd die. So, just like that, they scheduled the matching ceremony for tomorrow. I was trying to process all of this: divine power, matching, beastmen, a world that was clearly not Earth. This couldn't be Africa. I had really transmigrated. While my brain was overheating, Bai Heng had already carried me to his cave. He wiped my face and hands clean, fed me that familiar sweet coconut milk drink, and a bowl of meat soup that was a bit bitter and gamey.
I was too hungry to be picky.
My body swallowed everything before my mind could object. Outside, the chief had a quiet talk with his son. He warned Bai Heng, if he brought me into his cave, no other female would accept him. It was a one-way decision. "Father, I want to be her beast husband," Bai Heng said. "But only a matched husband gets the goddess's favor and a deeper bond," the chief sighed. "I've made up my mind." His father could only sigh. Meanwhile, full and warm, I drifted off to sleep again, completely unaware that I'd basically been put on the road to marriage. The matching ceremony was tomorrow, and several potential beast husbands were already on their way. Bai Heng transformed into his tiger form, blocked the cave entrance against the cold night air, and watched me sleep. Apparently, just looking at me made him feel complete. The next morning I was stripped and dressed again. At this point I'd lost count. Whoever was taking care of me put me in some kind of animal skin outfit and wrapped me up tight in a blanket like a burrito. I couldn't even be mad anymore. At least the clothes were warmer this time. After drinking bland meat soup and that sweet coconut milk stuff, I was picked up and carried somewhere new. Another day of being moved around like a package. I worried about how long this person would keep taking care of me before getting tired of it. If they tossed me out, how long could I survive on my own? I was placed on something soft and high up, some kind of stage or platform. I could hear female voices whispering around me. "Is that the one who won't wake up?" Bai Heng carried her here himself. Didn't he always say he'd only accept his divine match? That was just his excuse to reject Doya. Their gossip made my scalp tingle and my toes curl. But then a low chanting voice started up, and everyone went quiet. The ceremony had begun. I learned a lot from what I'd overheard. In this world, males far outnumber females. Every female gets matched with 6 beast husbands per ceremony, and there's no limit on how many times you can participate. Males need females to calm the violent energy inside them. Without that, powerful beast men can lose control and turn into mindless beasts. A divine match works best, and the bond is protected by the beast god. Breaking it hurts the female too. But non-matched partnerships can be dissolved freely, though the abandoned male still drops in power and might go mad from the loneliness. If I could talk, I would have said, so the law here doesn't protect homewreckers?
Nice.
Then everything changed. A wave of enormous energy crashed through my body during the chanting. It poured into every corner of me, reshaping me from the inside. And deep down, I felt something strange, like invisible threads connecting my soul to other beings. Several spots on my body grew warm as small animal patterns appeared on my skin, forming from shadows into solid marks. Most of them settled quickly and felt comfortable, but one spot on my upper right arm was different. It kept flashing between hot and cold, burning and unstable. Whatever was trying to form there couldn't finish. And worse, the energy that had just filled me up started leaking away because of it. The priest Chius sensed something was wrong and cut the ceremony short. The pattern on my right arm, a lion's head, froze halfway between solid and transparent, never fully forming. I didn't know it then, but somewhere far away on the northern continent, a golden lion, already badly wounded and unconscious, suddenly coughed up blood and grew even weaker. His connection to me had almost killed him. Meanwhile, down in his cave, Mo Huan, the giant snake who had saved me from the river, felt my energy reach him at the last moment. It pulled him through his transformation, and he broke through to the 8th rank. He'd been dying, but our new bond saved his life. He touched the tiny image of me that had appeared on his chest, and swore he'd come find me once he was strong enough. And up on the stage, while everyone else celebrated their new matches, I just lay there, still frozen, still silent, the only female whose light hadn't faded, the center of everyone's confused stares. I woke up. Actually woke up, eyes open, body moving. Well, sort of moving. Everything was sore and weak, but I managed to sit up in the grass nest I'd been lying in. I looked around. I was inside a stone cave. Under me were soft animal skins. There was a fire burning in the corner, and nothing else. No furniture, no tools, nothing. My eyesight was somehow perfect now, even though I'd always been a little nearsighted. Strange. Then I heard footsteps at the cave entrance. A man walked in, and I couldn't look away. He was tall, muscular, the kind of body that screamed raw power. My first thought was that one punch from him would send me straight to my own funeral. But when he got closer, I saw his face, sharp features, deep-set eyes, but with amber-colored irises that softened everything and made him look almost gentle. His body and his face didn't match at all, but somehow I didn't feel threatened by him. He knelt in front of me on one knee, and I flinched. Too close. Way too close. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I'm your matched beast. White Tiger Beast Man, Bai Hung." I recognized his voice. He was the one who'd been taking care of me all this time. Half my guard dropped instantly. "Bai Hung," I croaked. My voice was wrecked from days of not talking. "I'm Ling Yan." He handed me a fruit drink. I took a few sips to fix my throat, then got straight to business. I needed to understand where I was. I tried to keep my eyes on his face while asking questions, but they kept sliding down to his abs. They had opinions of their own. He explained everything. This was the southern continent of a beast man world. They found me in the hunting grounds, brought me back, and I'd been unconscious ever since. The healer said my body had awakened on its own but didn't have enough energy, so the priest arranged a matching ceremony. The beast god paired me with my most compatible mates, 6 of them, and the energy from the bond woke me up. 6 husbands. I'd gone to sleep single and woke up with 6 arranged marriages. "Can I refuse a match if I don't like them?" I asked carefully. Bai Hung's face went white.
Yen yen.
"Are you unhappy with me?" "No, no, no. I was just asking." "You're fine," I said quickly. He told me that a female could break the bond by cutting the beast mark, but the male would go insane.
Or die.
I looked at his face, which seemed about to shatter, and decided to change the subject. "I think I hurt my head," I said, pulling out the classic transmigrate excuse. "I've forgotten a lot of things." It was cliché, but it worked. He didn't question it at all, just stared at my head with worry and offered to take me to the healer. "No, it doesn't hurt. I just can't remember much." "That's okay," he said softly. "Whatever you want to know, just ask me." So, he told me everything about this world. The continent was split into 4 regions: icy north, mountainous east, coastal west, and my current location, the forested southern plains. Seasons here were wild. 2 suns in summer, nearly no moonlight in winter. There were beast tides, rogue beast men, and dangerous creatures everywhere. Males awakened elemental combat powers: fire, water, earth, wood, metal. Females awakened things like spatial storage, healing, nature sensing, or physical boosts. But even with all that, life was brutal. Females couldn't fight or transform, so they needed multiple beast husbands to protect them. If even the tough local females needed that much protection, what chance did a fragile human like me have? What I didn't realize yet was that the awakening ceremony and the matching had already been quietly remaking my body, turning me into something just as durable as the native females. After Bai Hung left to prepare roasted meat, I sat there trying to process everything. Could I really survive in this world? I felt a little sad about the savings in my bank account back home, years of penny pinching, and now someone else would get to spend it. But honestly, I had nothing waiting for me in the modern world anyway. No family, no real ties. So I decided to treat this like a new game. Player Ling Yen, registration complete. Welcome to Beast World Online. That actually made me laugh. After giving myself a pep talk, I decided to get up and look around. I'd been lying down for days, and my bones felt like jelly. I tugged at the animal skin mini dress I was wearing, way too short for my comfort. I slowly crawled out of the grass nest. Bai Hung rushed over to help me walk to the campfire near the cave entrance and sat me down on a stone he'd brought over. "Sit here for a bit. I'll roast some meat for you, okay?" He squatted by my legs and looked up at me with this expression full of feelings I couldn't quite read. It made me uncomfortable, so I looked away. Okay. I watched him pull a chunk of meat out of thin air. Turns out every male beast man above rank 3 has a storage space, like a pocket dimension. It can't keep food fresh though. Some awakened females get the fresh-keeping version. Lucky them. Then he tried to cook. I watched him slap an entire slab of meat the size of a wash basin onto the fire. The result was exactly what you'd expect: charred black on the outside, barely warm in the middle. He looked so embarrassed handing it to me, like he was afraid I'd dump him over bad cooking. I decided right then, no more being polite. He's my beast husband now, so I'm going to put him to work. I took over and directed him to make skewers on sticks. The salt here was bitter and the meat was gamey, but after days of only liquids, I was starving. I ate way more than I ever could have back in my old world. The food turned into energy flooding my body. That weak, tired feeling vanished completely. I felt like I could punch a cow to death. To prove the point, I accidentally crushed the stone bowl I was drinking from. We both stared at the broken pieces. "You must have awakened physical enhancement," Bai Hung said with a smile, taking the sharp bits from my hand to save me from further embarrassment. Haha, I laughed awkwardly, brushing stone dust off my fingers. After eating, I sat in the grass nest thinking while watching Bai Hung eat. I rubbed my right middle finger with my left index finger, an old habit of mine when I'm deep in thought. I was already here. Survival was what mattered. Back in the modern world, I'd been too scared to even get married, and now I'd been assigned 6 husbands at once. Looking at the wild forest outside, I had zero delusions about making it on my own. Every animal out there was bigger than me. Being practical is being smart. Through the bond, I could vaguely feel emotions from my matched mates: excitement, urgency, worry. I didn't hate it. I looked down at my body to find the beast marks. On my right chest was a white tiger. That's Bai Hung. On my left shoulder, a fierce hawk in flight. Near my belly button, a fluffy fox with its tail curled around my navel. On my lower back, a howling wolf. On my right wrist, a snake coiled around with its head resting on the back of my hand. eyes half closed. Those eyes looked familiar. Could that be Mo Huan? The lion on my upper right arm was different from the rest. All the others were solid white, but the lion was flickering between solid and transparent, like it couldn't decide whether to stay or fade away. I couldn't feel any emotions from it either. I asked Bai Hung about it, but he changed the subject.
Fine.
I'd find out eventually. Then I demanded a bath. Days of dirt and grime. Even though Bai Hung had been wiping me clean, I felt gross. He hauled in a huge stone tub full of water, stuck his hand in, and used his fire ability to heat it up. Hot water, just like that. Having a fire element husband was incredibly useful. He gave me a little olive-sized fruit that worked like toothpaste when you chewed it, minty and fresh. You could also rub it on your skin for soap. No wonder he had such perfect white teeth. After my bath, I wrapped myself in animal skin. Bai Hung came back and to clean up the tub, face bright red. I thought it was cute, such an innocent big tiger. He dried my hair by running his fingers through it and evaporating the water with heat. Done in seconds. Way better than a blow dryer. Clean and cozy, I burrowed into the soft furs and sighed happily. Bai Hung was heading to the cave entrance to sleep in tiger form like he'd been doing, but I called out to him. Bai Hung, did you take a bath? His face turned tomato red. Why, yes. I patted the spot next to me. He clenched his fists, then lay down beside me. By the time he regained his senses, I was already fast asleep, snuggled up against his chest like it was the world's best pillow. Poor tiger. Very frustrated. Very much crying on the inside. Over the next few days, Bai Hung and I started getting comfortable with each other. I knew that without him, I'd be dead. Starving would be the nicest way to go. For the first time in my 23 years of life, I actually felt what it was like to be in a relationship. We were like a couple in the honeymoon phase, sneaking glances at each other and getting all warm and fuzzy about it. Every morning he'd kiss me, then head out to hunt with a worried look on his face. Since he was my only beast husband, he couldn't go far. He had to stay near the tribe. But the nearby animals were limited, and he was running out of options. At first, he brought back massive beasts to impress me, but I couldn't chew through most of the meat, and some of it made me gag. Then he switched to smaller, easier game, the kind young beast men practiced on. That was better, but only slightly. The thing was, I didn't realize he was stressed about it. I thought I was doing fine. I ate what I could and didn't complain. Back in my world, a woman who depended on someone else didn't get to be picky. So I automatically put myself in that mindset, don't be a burden, just deal with it. But in Bai Hung's world, feeding your female was a male's most basic duty. If she started refusing food, it meant she was unhappy, maybe even ready to abandon him. We were stuck in a gap between two completely different worldviews, and neither of us understood the other side. Then one day, he came back and popped a little red berry into my mouth. Sweet and sour flavor exploded on my tongue. My eyes lit up. This is delicious. He handed me a whole bunch of washed berries. He said the coconut milk fruits were gone for the season, but these red berries had just ripened. He'd pick more if I liked them. Don't pick too many. They'll go bad, I said, once again jealous of females who had time-freeze storage spaces. He told me not to worry about that. Female storage spaces were tiny anyway, barely holding anything. That made me feel a little better. Then, as I picked up a berry to feed him, something flashed in my mind. Like a pop-up notification. Edible. Taste. Sweet and sour. I jumped up and ran to the cave entrance. I grabbed a handful of weeds from the ground. Not recommended for consumption. I dropped them and pulled up a small mushroom growing under a tree. Edible. Taste. Savory. I went wild. I touched every plant I could find around the cave. Most came back as not recommended, but I didn't care. I was practically in tears from happiness. My transmigrator cheat ability had finally arrived. I could sense whether plants were edible and roughly what they tasted like. Bai Hung followed me around the whole time, not stopping me, just hovering close to catch me if I tripped. When I finally calmed down and looked at him with sparkling eyes, he smiled. Yin Yen, what did you discover? I can sense which plants are safe to eat. Is this my awakened ability? Yes. Most females awaken things like physical enhancement or fertility boosts. Sensing abilities like yours are rare. He paused. And you awakened naturally. Yen, you're amazing. He was laying the praise on thick, and I loved it. He explained why they barely ate plants here. In this world, a fruit that was sweet one year might be poisonous the next. Nothing stayed consistent except a few well-known seasonal fruits. That was why he hadn't brought me much fruit even though he knew I preferred it. The wind season was already half over and temperatures were dropping. Bai Heng was busy hunting and stockpiling food for winter. I felt guilty asking him to take me on walks when he had so much to do. Having only one husband definitely had its downsides. Romance or food, you had to pick one. But now that I had my cheat ability, I was fired up. Tomorrow I was going out there. I was going to find vegetables, fruits, anything edible for the winter stockpile. No way was I spending the cold season eating nothing but tough gamey meat. Bai Heng looked uneasy. Even as the tribe's strongest rank 7 warrior, he couldn't guarantee my safety in the wild. Normal beasts he could handle, but packs of rogue or fallen beast men were another story. But I looked at him with my brightest, most hopeful eyes, and the refusal died on his lips. I'll take you to the canyon behind the tribe where we pick the red berries, he said. There aren't big predators there, and patrol teams pass through regularly. The other females like to walk around there too. Deal. I was satisfied. I was so excited I could barely sleep. Tomorrow, I was finally going outside to test my new ability. Vegetables and fruits. Here I come. The next morning, I jumped out of bed, washed up, drank my meat soup, popped a few red berries to get rid of the meaty taste, and got dressed in the animal skin outfit Bai Heng had prepared. He even made me a cute little leather crossbody bag. I was ready. I marched toward the cave entrance feeling great, then looked down at my bare feet.
Oh.
I'd been walking on soft furs inside the cave for days, and completely forgot I had no shoes. What do females wear on their feet when they go out? Females don't wear anything on their feet, he said like it was the most obvious thing in the world.
Mystery solved.
The local women didn't walk. They rode their beast husbands. Fully automatic transportation. Fuel cost. 1 piece of meat per 100 miles. So I climbed into his arms like a toddler being carried. It was embarrassing, but feeling his warm body and tight muscles against me was
distracting.
Focus, Lingyan.
Focus.
My excitement faded quickly. We walked for half an hour through the tribe's area, and I sensed plant after plant. Almost none were edible. The few that were looked like plain grass. I mean, technically edible grass, but still grass. The tribes already picked everything edible nearby, Bai Heng reassured me. Let's go further out. Right. Of course the area around the settlement was already stripped clean. My ability wasn't that rare. The locals had their own ways to identify food too. No free lunch waiting for me here. He sped up and carried me toward the canyon behind the tribe. After 2 hours of walking, he wasn't even breathing hard. I'd been about to ask if he was tired, but looking at his perfectly calm face, I swallowed those words and blurted out instead. Bai Heng, you're so fast. Wait. That came out wrong. He just smiled wider. Next time I'll carry you in tiger form. Even faster. Deal. Next time I'm riding the tiger. We arrived at a giant tree covered in red. I'd assumed the little berries, tomato-sized, grew on bushes near the ground. Easy picking. I'd even brought my little bag. Then I looked up. The tree was over 20 meters tall, absolutely covered in clusters of red and green fruits packed so densely it would make anyone with a fear of clustered patterns faint on the spot. So the berries were normal-sized, but the tree was the mutant. The kid was fine, it was the mom who went crazy. Bai Heng set me on a fur-covered rock and scrambled up the tree like a cat, telling me to wait. I watched the surroundings and touched nearby leaves to test them with my ability. Then a breeze hit me carrying a sharp, pungent smell.
Familiar.
Very familiar.
Was that
green onion? I slid off the rock and followed my nose. Just behind where I'd been sitting, I found it, except it was taller than I could see. A green onion the size of a tree. My brain short-circuited. Had a Shandong scallion been reborn in this beast world? I reached out and touched it. Edible. Taste pungent. I sniffed again. Definitely onion. I pinched the stalk with my fingernail. Tender, just oversized. Yen Yen, stop playing with the stinky grass. Come, eat red berries. Bai Hung had appeared behind me without a sound, holding a pile of fruit. Stinky grass. Fair enough. This thing smelled twice as strong as any onion back home. For beast men with their super-sensitive noses, it must have been unbearable. I want this one, I said, pointing at a stalk that looked manageable. This is edible. He looked doubtful. I nodded. He sighed, pulled it out of the ground for me, then looked at me asking if I wanted more. I shook my head. Without any sauce to dip it in, one giant onion was plenty. Finding the green onion gave me confidence. If I found onion, other seasonings couldn't be far behind, right? I told Bai Hung to put me down so I could explore on my own. I spotted a plant that looked like fennel and reached for it. Not recommended for consumption. Mild paralysis effect. Close call. I almost tasted it. Note to self, always use hands, never mouth. I turned around and tripped over something sticking out of the ground. Bai Hung caught me before I face-planted. After he set me upright and wiped the dirt off my feet, I looked down at what tripped me. The skin had scraped off, showing yellow flesh underneath.
Was that
ginger? It blended perfectly with the dirt around it, barely visible. This thing was a camouflage genius, not just in the kitchen but in the ground too. I touched it. Edible. Taste. Pungent. Can dispel cold and induce sweating. Yes. I asked Bai Hung to dig it out. He half-transformed, popping out his tiger claws, and started scratching at the earth. He looked less like a majestic tiger and more like a dog tearing up someone's yard. I forced myself to stare at the ginger instead. Even with mental preparation, seeing a ginger root the size of half my body and thick as a barrel left me speechless. But I had ginger. I had onion. There was only one logical next step. I dragged Bai Hung toward the nearby river. Today, I was eating grilled fish. He hesitated at the water's edge. Yen Yen, are you sure you want to eat spike beasts? They're bitter, bony, and they get stuck in your throat. A beast man actually died eating one. Trust me, my tribe eats them all the time. It'll be fine, I said, using my usual vague excuse about my old tribe. Bai Hung never pressed me about my inconsistent stories. He'd noticed I knew strange things but was clueless about basic beastman common sense. He didn't want to dig into my secrets, he just wanted to stay by my side. He dove into the river and came back with 7 or 8 fish, each half a meter long. Cats really do catch fish, big cats included. I directed him through gutting and cleaning them. His claws made quick work of it, scraping scales, removing gills and organs. The fish were perfect, tender meat with only one row of thick bones. Easy to handle. I crushed the onion and ginger in a stone bowl, squeezed out the juice, and rubbed it all over the fish. The smell alone was making me drool. Bai Hung built a fire and started grilling. The aroma spread everywhere, rich, savory, irresistible. He sprinkled salt on the cooked fish, waited for it to cool a bit, and handed it to me. Eat slowly, watch out for bones. I took the fish, ready to feast. Then from behind us, stop. I nearly dropped my food. I spun around and saw a round-faced, round-bodied girl sitting in a beastman's arms, glaring furiously, not at me, but at Bai Hung behind me. You call yourself a 7th-rank beastman? This is how you take care of a female? You're feeding her spike beast. She was red with anger. Apparently females here couldn't eat this fish. It was considered dangerous for them. She thought Bai Hung was being reckless with my life. Her heart was in the right place even if she was being a bit nosy. Before Bai Hung could respond, I stepped in. He takes great care of me. Spike beast is how my tribe eats it. It's really good. Want to try some? I held my fish out to her. She'd clearly smelled the aroma on her way over. Having an excuse to back down, she grabbed it immediately.
well?
I'll try it then. Her name was Doya, the same girl the other females had gossiped about during the matching ceremony. Bai Hung prepared more fish, carefully removing the bones and wrapping the meat in leaves for both of us. Her beast husbands copied him right away. 2 teenage girls sitting on fur blankets, stuffing their faces with delicious grilled fish, eyes sparkling. So good.
I'm Du Y.
I'm Ling Yen. After we finished eating, we started chatting. Then she dropped a bomb. I used to like Bai Hung, but I never matched with him. Every male present froze and stared at her. Bai Hung looked nervously at me. Why are you all looking at me like that? I said, used to. He told me he was waiting for his divine match, so I moved on. She crossed her arms. But there are rumors in the tribe that I'm still chasing him. I wanted to clear that up in front of everyone so Ling Yin doesn't hear it from someone else and misunderstand. Fair enough. I appreciated the honesty. In that moment, I genuinely started liking Duya. She didn't hold a grudge over being rejected by Bai Hung. Instead, she came all this way just to clear up the rumors so I wouldn't misunderstand. A little proud, sure, but a good person underneath. I turned to Bai Hung right away. I believe you and I believe her. Duya asked if I could teach her how to use the stinky grass for cooking. Of course I said yes. It worked great on grilled meat too. She was thrilled. While we chatted, I took off my little fur shawl because I was getting warm. That's when Duya spotted the lion mark on my right arm and gasped. Oh no, Ling Yin, you're so beautiful. How could a beast refuse? Her husband cut her off. Duya, she immediately realized her mistake. Apparently being rejected by a matched beast was considered deeply shameful for a female. Only enemies would bring it up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but I wasn't upset at all. Actually, I was relieved. So that half-faded lion mark meant the beast on the other end had refused the bond. I'd assumed he was dead. That's why Bai Hung had dodged my question about it. I'm not bothered, I told her. I actually thought this matching thing was forced. It's nice to know the males can refuse too. During the ceremony, I'd felt a faint force asking me to confirm each match. I just assumed the choice was only on my end. Knowing it went both ways actually lifted a weight off my chest. What if one of my matched beasts already had someone he loved? What if he didn't even like females? Being stuck together would just make both of us miserable. And honestly, thinking about it more, the power balance here wasn't as simple as it looked. Males were physically stronger, sure. But females held life and death power over their mates through the beast mark. Hard to say who was really the vulnerable one. Duya relaxed when she saw I wasn't offended, and we went right back to being friendly. Can I call you Yin Yin? Sure. Then we're friends. Of course. We kept talking until drowsiness took over. Both of us fell asleep right there on the fur blankets in the open air. The males gathered big leaves to shade us, and one of Duya's husbands used his wind ability to create a gentle breeze. When I woke up, I was amazed I'd slept so peacefully outdoors. Maybe I was already starting to belong here. Or maybe it was because I trusted the man tending the campfire nearby. Bai Hung had made fish soup in a stone pot. The smell was incredible. Duya woke up, sniffing the air too. We ate until the twin suns dipped behind the clouds and the world grew dim, savoring every last drop. Walking back to the tribe together. Two girls laughing, for big males guarding us on all sides. The sunset stretched our shadows long behind us. It felt like happiness. Back in the cave after my bath, I noticed several cuts on my feet from walking barefoot. Bai Hung held out a walnut-sized crystal stone and told me to eat it. I knew how precious these were. This one looked high-grade. It's just scratches on my feet. It's not worth. It's not just for the wounds. You were out all day. It'll help with the fatigue. I gave in and swallowed it. The crystal dissolved on my tongue into pure energy. I watched my cuts heal right before my eyes. Amazing. Actual magic medicine. But I still needed a solution for my feet. I couldn't keep going barefoot. I want something made of animal skin that I can wear on my feet. I tried to describe shoes using words and hand gestures. I'll try to make you some, he said, lifting me into the grass nest. But it's late now. Sleep first, okay? I can never say no to a gentle, emotionally steady man. I nodded, nuzzled my head against his chest, found a comfortable spot, and closed my eyes. Even with the crystal's energy boost, the day had worn me out. I fell asleep fast. Bai Hung waited until my breathing was deep and even, then slowly laid me down, adjusted my sleeping position, tucked a light fur over me, and crept out of the nest, moving like a thief in his own home, trying not to wake me. The next morning I woke up to the smell of cooking meat. I crawled out of the grass nest still half asleep, then stopped dead when I saw two pairs of shoes sitting on the ground. One pair was a casual shoe, thick black leather sole, soft brown leather on top, with matching laces. It was almost exactly what I'd described the night before. The other was a pair of strappy sandals with the same sturdy sole. Both had been carefully smoothed on the inside so nothing could rub or scratch my feet. One for indoors, one for going out. I'd only mentioned the idea last night, and he'd already made two pairs by morning. He must have stayed up all night. I ran my fingers over the shoes and felt something tighten in my chest. Back in my old world, I never asked anyone for help. I was terrified of owing people. But with Bai Hung, I kept letting my walls down without even noticing. It wasn't just the shoes. Since the first time I asked for a bath, he'd prepared hot water every single evening without being asked again. After I wore a fresh outfit once, he started washing and laying out clean clothes for me every morning. He never announced any of it. He just did it. And whenever my weird gaps in knowledge showed, knowing strange things but missing the most basic facts, he'd quietly smooth it over, never pressing, never questioning. That's why I'd been able to settle into this world without falling apart. A modern girl who'd lived 23 years in civilization suddenly dropped into a world of raw meat and animal skins. It should have broken me. But he made the transition so gentle, I barely felt it. I slipped on the sandals. Perfect fit. The white straps against the dark sole made my legs look longer than they were. Bai Hung walked in, and I ran straight at him. He caught me on instinct. Hung. I love the shoes you made. His throat bobbed. We were face to face, way too close, me clinging to him like a child being carried. I could tell it was testing his self-control. If you like them, I'll make you more, he said, his voice low and warm. I nodded enthusiastically. I already had a whole catalog of designs in my head. He set me down by the fire and handed me the morning soup. The moment it got close to my nose, I noticed something different. No gamey smell at all. This smells amazing today, his eyes softened. I treated the meat the way you prepared the fish yesterday, with the onion and ginger juice. This man was brilliant. One lesson, and he'd already figured out how to apply it to everything else. Weren't beast men supposed to be simple and straightforward? Did I get a secret limited edition model? I ate an extra bowl. He watched me with quiet satisfaction. After breakfast, I noticed he wasn't getting ready to hunt. Not going out today. I'm taking you outside the tribe for a walk. Wanna go? Yes. Of course. And I have new shoes today. I bounced off to change into my outdoor pair. Careful, don't fall, he called after me, still treating me like a porcelain doll even though I could crush rocks with my bare hands. The weather was perfect. 2 crescent moons hanging in the daytime sky, no wind. One of those rare comfortable days in this world. I grabbed my little crossbody bag and climbed onto Bai Hung's tiger form. His tail curled around my waist. Hold on tight, Yin Yen. Ready, he shot out of the tribe like a white streak. When he noticed I wasn't scared by the speed, he ran even faster, sticking to open ground so the branches wouldn't scratch me. We reached a valley filled with dense plants growing taller than a person, surrounded by steep terrain with clear sight lines in every direction. Perfect. Anything approaching would be spotted immediately. Wait here for me. I'll clear the area of wild animals first, he said, setting me gently on the ground. Okay. I nodded like a good girl. I won't wander off. I watched Bai Hung's white tiger form vanish in seconds, then looked around. The plants surrounding me were all taller than me, and I'm 170 centimeters, which was considered tall back home. Here I felt tiny. I tilted my head up to see the tops of the stalks. Each one was arm-thick with a few dried yellow leaves and a basketball-sized oval fruit at the top. They looked like giant rice plants. I grabbed a stalk and shook it.
Solid.
I kicked it a few times. It wobbled and straightened back up like it was mocking me. If these were what I thought they were, this whole field could feed me for years. I searched the ground carefully. Staying within the area Bai Hung had marked for me, I felt like a character in a protection circle. Finally, under some fallen leaves, I found a fruit that had been cracked open by some animal. The shell was about a centimeter thick. Inside were scattered white grains the size of soybeans, dusty looking. I picked one up and touched it. Edible. Strong satiety. I wiped it on my clothes and bit down. Ow, rock hard. But the taste? Unmistakably rice. Bai Hung came back and caught me chewing. Yen. Those shell fruits need to be soaked in water first. Females can't bite through them raw. And don't eat too many. They'll hurt your stomach. So that's why this huge rice field hadn't been harvested clean. They only knew how to soak the grains and eat them raw. What iron stomach could handle that? These can be cooked. They're delicious when cooked. You want me to pick some? He didn't need convincing. He just needed the order. Within minutes he'd picked what must have been thousands of pounds worth, choosing the prettiest ones because he'd noticed I look at pretty things longer. That's enough. I can't eat all that even in a year. He stopped reluctantly. If his storage space weren't almost full, he'd have kept going. I asked if there was water nearby. I wanted to cook lunch out here and keep exploring. He said there was a pond past the rice field and transformed so I could ride on his back through the sharp-leaved stalks. At the pond, he expertly skinned a rabbit-like creature he'd caught and pulled 2 big black fish from the water, then started preparing everything with onion and ginger like I'd taught him. I sat on a fur blanket watching my muscular, handsome beast husband work. This was the life I deserved. He noticed me staring, and then I swear he adjusted his posture, lifted his chin slightly, puffed out his chest, curved his lips just so. He was posing for me. The nerve. Then I remembered stone pot rice. My eyes lit up. Let's skip the soup today. Let's make stone pot mixed rice. What's that? I took command. First, heat the stone pot. Render the fat from the fatty meat into oil, and I told him to save the fat for cooking other things in the future. Cut the fish and rabbit meat into small pieces, season them with ginger and onion. Spread the rice on the bottom of the scorching pot, arrange the meat around it. Soon the pot was sizzling and crackling, the smell filling the air. Even Bai Hung, who normally didn't care much about food, swallowed hard. When I said it was ready, he lifted the lid with a leaf. The aroma of rice and meat hit us both at once. I scooped out a spoonful with the little wooden spoon he'd carved for me.
Perfect.
The rice grains were bigger than normal, but softer and sweeter than any rice I'd ever eaten back home. Bai Hung tried a bite, and his eyes went wide. This is amazing. Yen, you're incredible. I lifted my chin proudly. The ingredients were simple, but everything was fresh, and that made all the difference. I ate until I was stuffed and let out a satisfied burp. We walked along the river to digest, but I couldn't sit still for long. I had rice now. I had meat, but not a single vegetable. That had to change. I grabbed Bai Hung's hand, picked a random direction, and started walking. We kept walking and searching. Bai Hung watched for danger while I checked every plant that looked promising. Then, behind some tall grass, I spotted them, several half-person tall heads of cabbage. Exactly like the ones from back home, just scaled up several times. I grabbed a leaf and focused. Edible. Tastes sweet. I tore off a small piece and popped it in my mouth. Tender, fresh, sweet cabbage. My mind raced. Pickled cabbage, stir-fried cabbage, pork stew with cabbage, all possible now. I told Bai Hung to take every single head. Cabbage keeps well. We'd eat it slowly. On the ride home, I chattered excitedly about all the dishes we could make with rice and cabbage. Some things he understood, boiling rice into porridge, frying cabbage in pork fat. Others confused him, pickled vegetables, braised pork. But he just listened and memorized what he could. My voice got quieter and quieter until I was practically asleep on his warm, furry tiger back. He slowed down so I wouldn't fall off. We got home after dark. I was exhausted, up early, no nap, using my sensing ability all day. I wolfed down some grilled meat, washed up, and collapsed into the grass nest. When I woke up in the middle of the night and called for Bai Hung, nobody answered. I wrapped a fur around myself and padded to the cave entrance. There he was, sitting by the dying fire, quietly shelling rice grains. His movements were gentle, so he wouldn't wake me, but his eyes were smiling. Several leather bags already sat full beside him. He must have started the moment I fell asleep. I just stood there watching him, my mind drifting somewhere far away. He noticed me and scooped me up. It's cold out here. Need water? I nodded. He brought me warm water and held the bowl to my lips. Slowly, don't choke. Something about the quiet darkness made my emotions rise up. I thought about my childhood. After my parents divorced when I was 6, I barely got enough food at my grandmother's house. Nobody took care of me like this. When I was sick or tired, I just pushed through alone. Every single night. My eyes started stinging. Tears blurred my vision. Bai Heng panicked. What's wrong? Was the water too hot? Did it burn you? Let me see. When I didn't answer, he jumped up. Does it hurt? I'll get the healer. I grabbed his hand. His frantic worry shattered the whole mood. This sweet, clueless man. I just remembered some sad things from before, I said quietly. He pulled me into his arms and patted my back.
Don't be sad.
From now on, you have me. He paused, then added, us. I closed my eyes against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Strong and steady. I felt safe. But then I noticed his heartbeat was getting faster. And faster. And his skin was burning hot. Hot enough to cook an egg on. I sat up and looked at him, worried he was sick. His face was bright red, legs crossed awkwardly. My eyes followed the movement downward.
Oh.
Well then. I'll just step outside for a moment, you go to sleep. He stood up to leave. I grabbed the edge of his fur skirt. He froze. Apparently in Beastman culture, a female grabbing a male's fur skirt means she wants to mate. He stood there stiff as a board, face crimson, not daring to turn around. He probably thought I didn't know what the gesture meant. I looked at this man. Handsome face that could belong to a heartbreaker, but the soul of a shy puppy. We'd been sleeping in the same nest since day one, and he'd never once crossed the line. He'd hold me, kiss me, but the moment he sensed I wasn't ready, he'd stop. I'd woken up plenty of nights feeling the heat radiating off him, and he never asked for anything. I didn't want to hesitate anymore. I'd already accepted him. What was I being coy about? Stay, I said softly. What did you say? I don't repeat myself. I let go of his skirt, crawled into the furs, and burrowed in. A moment later, or maybe an eternity later, a wall of warmth pressed against my back, and kisses rained down everywhere. I woke up some time later to him whispering my name. The grass nest was still rocking. I bit his arm in embarrassment, which only made him laugh, a low, satisfied sound. That just encouraged him. He slowed his pace and held me gently. Later, half conscious, I felt warm hands carefully wiping me clean, every touch impossibly tender. I tried to open my eyes, but the exhaustion was too heavy. I smiled and let myself drift into deep, peaceful sleep. Then beast roars erupted outside. Even though Bai Heng instantly covered my ears, I woke up anyway. I tried to ask what was happening outside, but my voice was completely wrecked. I gave Bai Heng a look, and he understood. There's a beast attack on the outer perimeter. The patrol will handle it. We're safe here. I shook my head. I wasn't scared. But the roaring outside kept getting louder and more intense. Bai Heng frowned and kissed my forehead. I'll go check. I'll be right back. I grabbed his sleeve, worried. But then the snake mark on my right wrist started warming up. I felt something, a familiar presence. Hung, I'm coming too. I think it's him. Ever since the matching ceremony, I'd been wondering if the snake on my wrist belonged to those blood-red eyes I saw underwater before I fainted. The one who pulled me out and saved my life. I still had those 2 crystal stones he'd left for me, carefully tucked away. Bai Heng quickly dressed me and carried me outside. The moment I appeared, I felt someone's gaze lock onto me like a magnet. There he stood outside the tribe, tall, lean, wrapped in black robes. Skin pale as jade, ink-black hair flowing to his waist in the night wind. And those eyes, crimson red, cold enough to kill, but burning with an intensity that was entirely for me. The Tiger Beastmen had been on high alert. An 8th-rank snake beast man standing silently at their doorstep without explaining himself had half the tribe terrified. But apparently he'd just been waiting for me to come out, not attacking anyone. Bai Heng set me down. I walked toward the snake beast man, heart pounding. I looked up at him. You're the one who saved me that day, his throat bobbed. Yes. I smiled. Thank you. And these two crystal stones, I pulled them from my pouch and held them out. He wrapped his hand around mine, stones and all. His voice was rough. What I gave you is yours. You're my mate now. Bai-hung coughed behind us. Since you're here, let's go back to the cave. The surrounding beast men were stunned. What just happened? This little female really matched with all high-rank beasts. Pack it up, he's one of ours now. Back at the cave, I tried to break the awkward silence. I'm Ling Yen, Mo Huan. He paused, then seemed to think that sounded too cold. He added, my name is Mo Huan, 8th rank snake beastman.
No parents.
I've saved up many crystal stones. I can take good care of you. I burst out laughing. This was the Beast World version of I have a car, a house, and no in-laws, and he delivered it with the most serious, stone-cold face imaginable. I already know your name, I said. You told me not to forget you. Then why did it take you so long to come find me? After I left you, I went through my advancement. I came as soon as my energy stabilized. His answer was short and simple. Bai-hung seemed a bit suspicious. Natural breakthroughs shouldn't cause energy instability. Something must have gone wrong during Mo Huan's advancement. But if the snake didn't want to explain, it wasn't his place to push. I fell asleep in Bai-hung's arms on the way back. The two of them transformed into beast form, a massive white tiger on one side, an enormous black snake on the other, and guarded my grass nest through the rest of the night, like two fearsome dragons protecting their most precious treasure. I didn't wake up until nearly noon the next day. I stretched and realized that aside from a sore throat and an aching lower back, I felt completely fine. After everything that happened, the first half of the night with Bai-hung, then running outside to collect a new husband, one good sleep, and I was fully recovered? No wonder the local women here ate well and had multiple husbands. They were built tough. As I was adjusting my clothes, I noticed something had changed. The white tiger mark on my right chest looked different. The white tiger mark on my chest wasn't flat anymore. It had become more lifelike, colored closer to Bai-hung's real tiger form, with black stripes added, like it went from 2D to 3D. Bai-hung walked in and caught me staring at it. Like what you see. Yeah. I didn't know it could change. He explained that after mating, the beast mark evolves to look more like the husband's true form. The female also gains some physical boosts based on her husband's rank and abilities. I pumped my little fist. No wonder I felt stronger. Well then, my powerful little female, please get up and eat. Why did he have to say embarrassing things with such a straight face? My toes curled. Breakfast was rice porridge with cabbage and meat. The first spoonful almost made me cry. I'd been craving this for so long, though I realized as I ate, we really needed a table. And these stone bowls were way too heavy for my wrists. I noticed Bai-hung wasn't heading out to hunt. Not going today, Mo Huan went. Oh.
Right.
I'd completely forgotten about the husband I collected last night. I'd been so tired my brain left the building. Somewhere deep in the forest, Mo Huan was dutifully hunting down every animal Bai-hung had told him I liked. Back meat, belly ribs, legs, heads, slaughtering everything in his path. He had no idea I'd almost forgotten he existed.
Ah, ilaugaw Quarli.
I was wondering where he was. Bai-hung didn't call me out. He just said we needed to visit the chief later to explain last night's commotion. I asked why Mo Huan's arrival had caused such a panic when other females' matched beasts had been welcomed warmly. Bai-hung hesitated, then explained. Cold-blooded beastmen, snakes, lizards, and such, weren't welcome in tribes. Many of them traveled in groups, raiding settlements to kidnap females for breeding. They didn't care for the children properly, and when winter came, they went into hibernation, leaving the females and babies to die in the cold. On top of that, cold-blooded beastmen had unpredictable tempers and could suddenly turn violent. And their bodies were ice cold, which females found unpleasant. My eyes went wide. That's terrible. How can they be so irresponsible? Bai-hung nodded. But not all cold-blooded beastmen are bad. Mo Huan has never done anything wrong. My father and I have known him for a long time. He's a good male. He was trying to be fair, warning me about the danger without making me hate Mo Huan. What neither of us realized was that Mo Huan was standing right outside the cave, hearing every word. The joy from coming home with armfuls of prey froze in his chest.
She knew now.
About cold-blooded beastmen. About what his kind did. Would she still want him? His mother had been a kidnapped female. His father had taken her by force, couldn't protect her, and she died because of other rogue beastmen. Before she died, she told him to never become like his father. He never forgot. He killed every one of those rogues after he grew strong enough. But his mother never came back. He'd never imagined any female would accept him. When I appeared in that water, he thought the most he could ever hope for was to watch me from a distance someday. Then the beast god matched us, and it felt like a miracle. But what if I only accepted because I didn't know what cold-blooded beastmen really were? Bai Heng signaled to me that Mo Huan was outside. My toes practically drilled through the floor. He'd heard me talking about his kind behind his back. But when I looked up and saw him standing at the cave entrance, shoulders slumped, surrounded by sadness, so thick I could almost touch it, my heart clenched hard. He turned to leave, his feet dragging like they were filled with lead. I ran out and hugged him from behind. "Big snake, where do you think you're going?" He froze. Then he turned and held me so tight I could barely breathe. "You heard everything?" I asked. He nodded silently. "Did you hear me say I don't want you? Did you hear me tell you to leave?" He paused, shook his head. I smiled. "I don't care that you're a cold-blooded beast man. I care that you're Mo Huan. You never treated me like those bad ones. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't even be alive. You're my lifesaver. You silly snake." Mo Huan held me like I was the most precious thing in the world. I could feel the darkness lifting from him. He wasn't a wandering loner anymore.
He had a home now.
Bai Heng coughed loudly behind us. I buried my face in Mo Huan's chest, confessing feelings to one husband while the other watched was awkward. Mo Huan shot Bai Heng a death glare, but Bai Heng just shrugged.
"Don't glare at me.
We need to go to the square. The hunting party leaves today, and there'll be a crowd. Better to get Mo Huan's identity sorted out publicly before anyone starts trouble." Both of them looked at me for the final word. "Let's go then." At the square, dozens of muscular beastmen tensed up the moment they saw Mo Huan. That instinctive wariness of cold-blooded beastmen was painfully obvious. Mo Huan didn't care. As long as I accepted him, he belonged somewhere now. But seeing it firsthand hurt. That quiet exclusion, like everyone was the same except you. I grabbed Mo Huan's hand tightly so nobody could misread my stance. The chief, thankfully, was completely calm about it. He knew Mo Huan had never caused trouble and had even saved Bai Heng during a beast tide one winter. Plus, gaining an 8th rank warrior meant the tribe would be much safer. "Welcome to the White Tiger Tribe, Mo Huan," the chief said warmly. The crowd followed his lead with welcoming roars. Only one tiger muttered, "She'll even take a cold blood?" Not picky at all. Nobody dignified that with a response. An 8th rank beast is an 8th rank beast. Anyone would want that. After the crowd dispersed, the chief pulled me aside. "If you've accepted Mo Huan, consummate the bond soon. Delays cause problems." I understood. Without my scent on him, the tribe would keep wondering if I'd reject him eventually, and a rejected cold-blooded beast man near a settlement made everyone nervous.
But let
me get this straight. My father-in-law was telling me to sleep with my second husband as quickly as possible while my first husband nodded along in agreement. This world's family dynamics were really something. Then the chief's mood switched instantly. He hurled a little fireball at Bai Heng's backside. "You brat. You made it and didn't tell your mother." Bai Heng dodged and shot back. "It just happened last night." That made it worse. Matched for over 10 days and only mated last night? The chief started yelling even louder, convinced his son had done something to make me unhappy. Back at the cave, the two males processed the mountain of game Mo Huan had hunted that morning. My favorites were washed and set aside nicely. The rest was stripped, dried with Bai Heng's fire ability, and turned into jerky for winter. Tough stuff only males could chew through. I took a nap. When I woke up, Mo Huan was sitting beside me, watching me. I smiled. "I'm a little hungry." He brought me grilled meat and vegetable porridge and fed me by hand. After I finished, I saw him heating water for a bath, the old-fashioned way, with firewood. "Where's Bai Heng?" Why not use his fire ability? He went to see his mother. Oh,
Right.
the chief's scolding. But after my bath, when Bai Heng still hadn't returned and Mo Huan sat down next to me freshly cleaned, I realized what was happening. Bai Heng had left on purpose. He was giving us space. Mo Huan moved closer. I swallowed nervously. He noticed my hesitation, and his eyes dimmed slightly. If you don't want to. I didn't let him finish. I kissed him. Hard. He froze for one heartbeat. Then his cool hands gripped the back of my neck, and his arms locked me against him. I'd planned to take things slow with Mo Huan, get to know each other first. But that kiss pulled me under. And he was already someone I felt a deep connection to, the one who saved me when I first arrived in this world. There was also a practical side. He probably knew something about where I came from, and binding him closer meant safety. Everything about him was different from Bai Heng. Where Bai Heng was all warmth and fire, Mo Huan was cool to the touch, a completely different sensation that sent shivers through me in ways I didn't expect. My mind wandered for just a second, mated with Bai Heng last night, now with Mo Huan tonight. A tiny bit scandalous, maybe, but also kind of thrilling. Mo Huan noticed me getting distracted and immediately took charge. One flip, and I was underneath him. Then something strange coiled around my leg, smooth, cool. Definitely not a hand. Goosebumps erupted everywhere. Before I could make a sound, a cold, commanding kiss swallowed my voice. Turns out everything about a snake beast man is cool to the touch. Everywhere. So snakes really are cool everywhere. That was my last thought before I passed out. When I half woke, I felt someone gently cleaning me up. My last scrap of embarrassment was buried under exhaustion. I let out a satisfied hum and drifted off. So that's what those two had been whispering about behind my back earlier, exchanging tips. Bai Heng was a good teacher, and Mo Huan was a fast learner. The next morning, late morning, naturally, I stretched and thought, wow, I've been sleeping amazingly these past 2 nights. Both males sprang into action the moment they heard me stir. One helped me wash up, the other started cooking. I felt a little awkward at first having both of them around, but they acted so casual about it that I relaxed. A bite of grilled meat from Bai Heng, a sip of porridge from Mo Huan, breakfast served by 2 handsome men. Life was good, but the cave was getting cramped. 50 square meters was fine for 2, but with Mo Huan added, we needed more space. I couldn't exactly kick one husband out every time I wanted to be alone with the other. Can we make this cave bigger? He said yes, we could dig it out and get Earth Element Beastmen to reinforce the walls so nothing collapsed. My inner Chinese construction spirit awakened. I started planning immediately. Can Metal Element Beastmen make tools? Pots, bowls, utensils. No luck there. Anything made from elemental energy disappeared once the Beastman stopped feeding it power. But Earth Element reinforcement was permanent, so I went all in on my floor plan. The current cave would become a living room. 2 rooms on the left, bedroom and kitchen separated by a heated wall. I'd build a firewall connected to a heated sleeping platform with a stove on one side, a storage room and cellar on the right. The husbands could figure out their own sleeping arrangements on the far side. I was a fair and democratic wife. Bai Heng got excited about the heated wall concept and ran off to recruit help. Mo Huan looked at me with sad puppy snake eyes. I'm lightning type. I can't really help with. I pinched his lips shut. You're digging too, okay? He brightened up instantly. I actually wanted to take him fishing with his lightning power later. Electric fishing wasn't illegal in the beast world, hee hee. Soon Bai Heng returned with 2 helpers, Doya's tiger husband Yanji and a tall, white-haired wolf beast man named Inya, who turned out to be Bai Heng's stepfather. I set up camp under a shady tree with red berries and watched 4 beastmen tear into the mountainside. Their claws were better than any tool. They compacted the rock with earth energy, then sliced out perfectly smooth stone blocks. I eyed those blocks and thought, I could build a little courtyard wall and grow vegetables inside it. Yen yen. I came to play. Doya bounced over, carried princess style in her husband's arms as always. She sat down next to me and tried copying my side-sitting pose. This looks pretty, but it's uncomfortable. I leaned in close. It keeps your butt from showing. Her eyes went round. Was my butt showing before? Do you wear underwear? What's underwear? Can you eat it? I slapped my forehead.
Right.
Nobody in this world wore any. Male or female. Everyone was just freeballing it. I described underwear with hand gestures. You wear it here. It keeps females from getting sick. She immediately tried to lift my skirt to see. I slapped her hand down. I'll make you some later. I'll trade you bee skins for them. No need, they're free. No, I'm trading. Free. Trading. Bai Heng rescue me from this standoff. Yin Yen, come show us how to build the firewall. Inside, the cave had been transformed. 4 rooms plus a main hall, all smooth-walled and solid. The thoughtful males had even added a small extra room on one side, for bathing, obviously. I directed the construction of the heating system. Smoke channels connected the stove to the firewall, which fed into the heated sleeping platform. A chimney was built tall enough that heavy snow wouldn't block it. I added a fire pit under the wall for heating without cooking, and a separate chimney for the stove so it could be used in other seasons. Just plug the separate chimney in winter to force all the heat through the wall. When everything was done, I had Bai Heng light a test fire. Within minutes, the wall and platform both warmed up. Standing nearby felt like being wrapped in a gentle hug of heat. The beastman's eyes went wide with excitement. Yen Ji spoke up first. Ling Yen, can I build that firewall and heated bed for Duya? I'll trade you 10 mu beasts for it. Inya chimed in with the same offer. No need. Today's help is payment enough, I said. But Duya wouldn't let it go, tugging my arm. If I don't pay you, how can I sleep on your heated bed with a clear conscience? Girl, you're not sleeping on my heated bed. Bai Heng stepped in. Take the trade. This is your idea. It's worth 10 mu beasts. 1. Final offer. Argue again, and nobody learns it. That shut everyone up. That night, I lay on my glorious 6-meter-long heated platform, soft furs underneath, warmth seeping up from below. Bai Heng on my left, Mo Huan on my right. Could I really say no when 2 gorgeous men gave me puppy eyes and whined that their rooms weren't ready yet and they didn't want to sleep on the cold floor?
No.
No, I could not. I asked Bai Heng to teach me sewing so I could make underwear for Duya. I'd promised her 2 pairs. But it turned out Duya's fox husband had already come by and Bai Heng had taught him how to make them. Problem solved without me embarrassing myself with my terrible needlework. Then Mo Huan pulled out a stack of shed snake skins from his storage space. These are breathable. They might be more comfortable to wear. He'd been embarrassed to offer them because they were black, thinking I'd prefer flashier animal furs. But the moment I touched them, smooth as silk ribbon, I was sold. I described an Audrey Hepburn-style little black dress to him, and he started sewing immediately. Beastman husbands really were the ultimate household appliance. They hunt, cook, raise children, and sew. When I put the dress on, both males stared at me with eyes so hot they could melt steel. I dove under the blankets before the situation escalated. I was not doing a threesome. A furry tiger tail wrapped around my thigh, and a cool snake tail brushed my ankle. Both paused, then withdrew. They knew I was shy. I fell asleep in peace. The next morning I woke up to find Bai Heng hauling in a massive tree trunk, so big it would take several people to wrap their arms around it. Mo Huan was trimming off branches. What are you doing? I chopped down some hardbone trees. They're very strong and don't warp. I knocked on the wood. It was rock solid. Mo Huan immediately grabbed my hand to check for injuries. Bai Heng gave me a disapproving look. I rubbed my nose and changed the subject. These trees were perfect. I'd been worrying about making furniture without nails, glue, or carpentry knowledge. But with wood this hard, we could just carve everything directly from solid blocks. First, a dining table. I was done eating while squatting by the fire holding stone bowls that weighed a ton. Under my direction, the 2 males carved and sanded a rectangular table with matching round stools. Pure solid wood, handcrafted. Back home this would cost more than I could ever afford. Then a reclining chair for sunbathing at the cave entrance. A small table and cabinet for the heated platform. A big wardrobe for my bedroom. Storage shelves so food wasn't piled on the floor anymore. A toilet. The bathroom space was already there. Might as well furnish it. A large wooden bathtub. After the big pieces, I had them carve bowls, cups, plates, chopsticks, and stacks of wooden buckets and basins in various sizes. Bai Hung sterilized everything with his fire ability. The wood didn't crack or warp even under intense heat. These things would probably outlast me. I did a final walkthrough of my home. The entrance had a little partition for privacy. Beyond it was the living room with a low table and fur cushions, good lighting, perfect for entertaining or food prep. The kitchen was on the left with the stove connected to the firewall. My bedroom was next to it, the heated platform piled with thick furs, my little bedside table and cabinet neatly arranged, wardrobe against the opposite wall. The storage room on the right was immaculate, jerky, rice, cabbage, onion, and ginger all organized by size on the new shelves. That was definitely Mo Huan's work. That snake had a touch of OCD. The bathroom was basic for now. And the husband's quarters behind the living room? Still unfinished. I didn't push them on it. Those two clearly preferred sleeping with me. Sneaky beasts. By the time I finished my inspection tour, dinner was ready. I happily bounced over to my brand new dining table. A few days later, Bai Hung came back from a meeting with his father. The chief wanted to know if the whole tribe could learn to build firewalls and heated beds. They were offering 10 high-grade crystal stones in exchange. I felt it was too generous. I was just standing on the shoulders of my ancestors' knowledge. But Bai Hung said it seriously. With this, no female or child in the tribe will freeze to death this winter. I accepted. He had a point, and honestly, if I kept giving things away for free, people would stop valuing them. That's a lesson I learned long ago. Give too much and gratitude turns to entitlement. But I had a bigger problem. I'm going crazy eating the same few vegetables. I can't survive on just meat. Both males offered to take me exploring together, so we could go further. But I could feel their quiet stress. With only 2 husbands, they had to take turns hunting and stockpiling for winter. 3 more matched mates were still missing and nobody knew when, or if, they'd show up. I told them not to bring me along. Instead, I asked them to collect any plants they found while hunting, fruits, roots, anything, and bring them back for me to check. Even smelly ones.
But don't taste anything.
It might be poisonous. The next evening, Mo Huan came back late from a long-range hunt. He'd gone further than usual. I ran to meet him at the entrance.
Are you hurt? No. Just went far.
He patted my head gently. He emptied his storage space, and a pile of strange plants and fruits appeared. I got to work. A watermelon-sized red ball? Edible. Taste, bitter. Pass. A green pomelo-looking thing? Not edible. Next. Something like a persimmon? Edible. Taste, foul. Why? Every pretty fruit was either inedible or tasted terrible. I was losing hope. Was my cheat ability just decoration? Don't worry, I'll bring more tomorrow, Bai Hung said softly. Mo Huan clenched his fists. He'd grabbed everything he could find today, and it still wasn't enough. I turned to the ugly plants I'd been avoiding. I picked up something that looked like sugarcane. Not edible. Highly toxic. I flung it 3 meters away. Mo Huan reached for it and I yelled, "Don't touch that, it's poisonous." He picked it up anyway, tossing it casually. "Don't worry. You're bonded with me now. No poison can hurt you, unless it's stronger than a black jade serpent king's venom. And I've never met anything more toxic than me." Wait. Seriously? Being mated to him gave me poison immunity. Was that also why I wasn't feeling cold lately, even though temperatures had dropped enough for autumn clothes back home? I'd assume my body just got tougher. Bai Hung smiled and nodded, confirming it. Knowing I couldn't be poisoned made me much bolder. I grabbed an ugly purple ball the size of a wash basin. Looked like a villain's head from a superhero movie. Edible. Contained starch, yes. My luck had finally turned. And it kept coming. I found a white eggplant-shaped thing that was actually a chili pepper, an avocado-looking fruit that tasted like lemon, and a red radish. I named everything since neither husband recognized any of it. The purple monster turned into something like a potato when cooked, a potato lover's dream. The red radish turned white after cooking, which was a relief because color matters when you're trying to eat. Under my direction, we made spicy shredded potatoes, chili fried meat, potato braised poultry stew, and radish pork bone soup. Looking at the full table, my eyes got a little wet. I never thought I'd eat food like this again. The ingredients were simple and missing many seasonings, but everything was so fresh it tasted better than anything from my old world. The two males ate with me, but it was more symbolic. Beast men needed massive amounts of food, 2 or 3 times their body weight daily. Cooking everything my way would take all day and still not fill them. They actually got more energy from raw meat, but since I didn't like watching that, they ate separately. I didn't try to change them. Even between the closest people, you need boundaries. Welcome back, Big Tiger. I hugged Bai Hung when he came home from hunting. He always showered before coming inside now. Both he and Mo Huan had learned I didn't like the smell of blood in the house. He told me that Yenji had tagged along on today's hunt and copied him digging up potatoes and radishes. He even gave us a moo beast as thanks. That guy really loved paying in moo beasts. Lately, the two husbands had been bringing back plants for me to check every day. Mo Huan had incredible luck. He'd found Sichuan peppercorns, bay leaves, and star anise. They all looked weird and unappetizing, but the smell was unmistakable. Bai Hung, on the other hand, struck out every single time. Everything he brought back was either toxic, bitter, or foul. He was practically assembling a poisonous plant encyclopedia. Poor puppy. Watching him trudge off to cook after yet another complete failure, I couldn't help laughing. Was luck really a stat in this world? Yen Yen. Can I come in? Duaya's voice called from outside. She'd come because her husbands had tried roasting the potatoes and radishes, and it was a disaster. She figured they were doing it wrong and came to learn. I sent her beast husbands to the kitchen to watch Bai Hung cook. Once we were alone, she asked something that had been on my mind too. How come you still only have 2 husbands? Where are the others? My face must have shown my worry. Could they be in danger? She explained that the beast mark would react if a mate was in mortal danger. Had I felt anything? I shook my head. Everything had been calm since the matching. Then don't worry. As long as they're alive, they'll come. And if they don't, I'll go with you to match new ones next year. Something about her casual tone bothered me. Don't the females feel sad when their mates die? Duaya's expression changed instantly. Males are everywhere. If one dies, or you don't like him, match a new one. Don't get too attached. But shouldn't females care about their mates' feelings too? Females don't need to. Her voice was suddenly sharp and emotional. Our husbands rushed in, sensing the tension. Duaya looked at Bai Hung coldly. You heard everything. Talk some sense into her. Then she left. I sat there confused. I just want to give you all equal love in return. Bai Hung kissed my forehead. You're doing fine. Let me tell you why she reacted. That way, years ago, a female in the tribe had over a dozen mates, then matched her so-called true love. When that male died on a hunt, she lost her mind. She slashed the beast marks of all her other husbands, driving them insane or killing them outright, then drowned herself. Most of her children died, too, without anyone to care for them. Dozens of lives lost because of one emotional breakdown. Duoyo is trying to protect you. She doesn't want you to love so deeply that losing one of us destroys you. Was that female someone she knew? It was her mother. Her father died right in front of her when the mark was cut. My heart sank. Hung, take me to her. He carried me outside. Duoya was standing not far from our cave, waiting. I'm sorry, we both said at the same time. I looked at her. Dinner's ready. You're not going to eat? She sniffled. Of course I'm eating. It smells amazing. I've been drooling this whole time. Girls don't hold grudges overnight. And we definitely don't stay angry past dinner. Your food is so good, Duoya said with her cheeks stuffed like a hamster. I told her to have her husbands learn from Bai Hung. She promised to send yet another moo beast. That girl and her moo beasts. After she left, I lounged on my little recliner watching Bai Hung and Mo Huan work their meat drying assembly line. Mo Huan butchered, Bai Hung dried. The muscles flexing as they worked were quite the show. The dried meat looked rock hard and painful to chew, but it was winter rations for the males. Then I thought of something: cured meat. Salt preserved, smoke dried, delicious cured meat. It could last all winter and actually taste good. Do we have enough salt? He thought about it. Enough for regular cooking until the tribe's next salt trade with the Sea Clan. But definitely not enough for curing meat, pickling cabbage, and preserving radishes. There's also salt stone, he added. Males who can't afford sea salt use it. It's bitter though, salt stone that had to be rock salt. The bitterness was probably impurities. Maybe I could filter it. While I was lost in thought, a pair of cool hands grabbed my waist and lifted me up. Whatever you're planning can wait until tomorrow. Right now is my time. Mo Huan had already hiked up my skirt. I kicked his shoulder in protest, which only excited him more. Those predatory eyes locked on me like I was prey. My whole body went hot. No, not again. Last time, I promise. The night was long. I woke up with no idea what time it was. Aside from a sore lower back, again I felt fine. Honestly, my recovery ability was terrifying. I deserved every husband I had. Bai Hung brought me a simple lunch, warm porridge and potato cakes. He knew I didn't like heavy food right after waking up. I ate while he watched me, with that warm gaze. I'd gotten used to being stared at during meals. All my husbands were the same, convinced I'd choke to death without supervision. I fed Bai Hung bites between my own. He closed his eyes like a contented cat. Then he told me he'd already traded for several salt stones. I went to look, chunks of blue-gray rock, half a meter tall. I tasted a speck, half bitter, half salty. Definitely not usable as is. I dug into my middle school chemistry memories. Crushed these into powder, dumped them in a bucket with water. Bai Hung crushed them with his bare hands, crumbled them to dust in his fists. No tools needed. Beastman's raw strength made most equipment unnecessary. Back home, humans invented tools because our bodies were weak. Here, beastmen were powerful, but their harsh lives left little room for innovation. I found that oddly poignant. The salt water's ready. Bai Hung interrupted my philosophizing. He didn't like when I got that faraway look. It made him feel like he couldn't hold on to me. I patted his head. Good tiger. Now let's make a funnel. I described the shape and he carved one quickly. I layered wood ash and fine sand at the bottom, then poured the salt water through. Clear liquid dripped out the bottom into a bucket below. Now we wait for it all to filter through. Before I could hover over my chemistry experiment, Bai Hung reminded me, don't go near the funnel, it could fall and hurt you. He'd apparently been babysitting me this whole time, not just keeping me company. Was I really that fragile and unreliable in their eyes? Mo Huan came home with the exact type of small game I liked. Both husbands had memorized my preferences and always brought back my favorites, just in case I got a craving. Bai Hung took the poultry to the kitchen and told Mo Huan to watch me. Mo Huan stood guard, staring at me like an obedient sentinel. I pouted at him. You're supposed to be the cold, mysterious type. Why do you listen to Bai Hung like a good boy? He poked my puffy cheek and changed the subject. I found some fruit today. Wanna see? My eyes lit up. I hadn't found any new edible fruit in days. He pulled out a cluster of baby fist-sized purple fruits. I ran to wash my hands first, silently praying to every deity I could think of. Edible. Taste. Sweet and sour. I almost jumped through the ceiling. I peeled one and bit in, sweeter than the best grape I'd ever had back home, with just a hint of tartness. Pure bliss. I fed one to Mo Huan, then ran to the kitchen to shove one in Bai Hung's mouth too. Then I started devouring them, 3, 4, until Mo Huan grabbed my hand and stopped me. Eat dinner first, okay? Mo Huan said gently. I put the grapes down obediently. They were just so good I couldn't stop. Dinner was amazing. Poultry stewed with potatoes, radish meatball soup, chili fried meat, stir-fried greens, and a bowl of rice. Both husbands ate with me because I didn't like being watched while I ate alone. We chatted about their day, what they hunted, where they found things, what I'd been up to at home. It was warm and easy. After dinner, I checked on my salt experiment. The filtered liquid had pooled at the bottom of the bucket. Time to test it. I had Mo Huan pour the filtered water into 2 portions. After letting them settle, I strained both through thin leather one more time. Then I gave 1 portion to Bai Hung to evaporate with his fire ability and had Mo Huan boil the other one dry in a stone pot. Bai Hung's batch left white crystals at the bottom of the bowl. Mo Huan's pot had the same result. I tasted both. Bai Hung's had a faint bitterness, but Mo Huan's boiled version was almost pure. Clean, white salt. Better than the sea salt they traded for. It worked. Both males stared at the crystals in disbelief. They tasted it and looked at each other in shock. This was better than anything the Sea clan sold them. I asked Bai Hung if the energy cost was manageable. He said he could process a whole bucket without breaking a sweat. The difference in taste probably came down to the boiling step, removing one more layer of impurities. Later, while Bai Hung was heating my bath water, I noticed him staring into space. The water was practically boiling, and he didn't even flinch. Hung, help me untie the back of my top. I interrupted his thoughts. He snapped out of it and walked over. I caught his fingers. My big tiger has something on his mind today. I've always believed that mouths exist for communication. There was already a gap between two worlds separating us. If we didn't talk, how could we make this work? He knelt beside me, pulled me into his arms, and rested his head on my shoulder. I rubbed his back and waited. He finally told me what was bothering him. He wanted to share the salt-making method with the tribe, but he was afraid that if word got out about how clever I was, it might attract dangerous attention. The southern continent was landlocked. Every year the tribe sent a group of warriors on a long, dangerous journey west to the Sea clan to trade for salt, paying with precious beast cores. Warriors died on that road every year. Bai Hung's own wolf brother, Inua, had been killed on one of those salt runs. Before meeting me, Bai Hung had been confident. He was the tribe's strongest 7th-rank warrior. But now he was constantly afraid he couldn't protect me. Even with Mo Huan here, it was only slightly better. 3 of my matched mates were still missing, and the 2 of them carried all the burden alone. He was scared that sharing my ideas would put a target on my back. I understood completely. I'd already thought about this before building the firewall. I wasn't trying to be some savior goddess. My limited knowledge couldn't sustain that role. I kept my distance from most tribe members on purpose. I was different, an outsider pretending to fit in. If that ever came to light, it would be catastrophic for me and everyone close to me. But I also couldn't just hoard everything while people around me suffered.
cooking.
I'd agreed to share the heated walls. I wasn't heartless. Just tell the chief you figured it out yourself, I said. Bai Hung frowned. Taking credit for his mate's work felt wrong to him. I grinned. Did you carry the salt stones home? Yes. Did you crush them with your hands? Yes. Did you make the funnel? Yes. Did you evaporate the water with your ability? Yes. Then didn't you make the salt? Yes. No, wait. Yin. His handsome face turned bright red. I laughed so hard I almost fell over. Fine, it wasn't just you, it was you and Mo Huan. We should ask his opinion too, I said with a sly grin. Bai Hung hugged me tight. You're too good, Yin. My big tiger is good too, I said, then spotted Mo Huan returning. And my big snake is good too. I'd learned that Mo Huan was emotionally needy. I could never leave him out. Mo Huan agreed to share the salt method with the tribe, but looked at Bai Hung and said flatly, 20 crystal stones. Bai Hung's eyes lit up. I'll ask father for 30. These 2 were going to bankrupt their own father. Somewhere across the settlement, Chief Bai Hung probably shivered. When Bai Hung showed his father the salt, the chief tasted it once, then snatched it into his storage space faster than I could blink. He asked if Bai Hung had really figured it out himself. Bai Hung rubbed his nose awkwardly. The chief's expression turned serious. Remember, you came up with this. Nobody else. He understood instantly what was at stake. A clever female drawing attention could bring disaster. Bai Hung came home with 100 crystal stones. 100. I added them to my collection, 10 from the firewall contribution, plus the boxes from Mo Huan and Bai Hung. I was officially rich. I hugged my crystal stash and wished desperately for a storage space, even a tiny one, just to hide my private savings. Both males found my money-obsessed face adorable. Mo Huan silently vowed to gut more rare beasts for crystals. Bai Hung decided to look for pretty shiny rocks on his hunts. With the salt situation settled, I had about 30 pounds, enough to cure nearly 1,000 pounds of meat. I also had Bai Hung pass along a tip to the chief. Rubbing salt on game preserves it longer. Let them figure out the rest themselves. Time for cured meat. I'd only ever helped my grandmother make it as a child. My parents divorced when I was 6 and dumped me at grandma's house like garbage. I was basically a little servant there, doing all the chores. Every winter I'd help make cured meat, but my aunt's nasty looks meant I only ever got to eat the garlic sprouts from the dish, not the meat itself. The memory hit me hard, and I drifted off. Almost instantly, warm arms wrapped around me. Beastmen could sense emotional shifts immediately. I reminded myself I had a family now. Beast family. This year's cured meat, I was eating until I burst. I fell asleep in Bai Hung's arms. My last thought was, did he wash his hands after handling raw meat? But the warmth was too nice to pull away from. When I woke up, the cave smelled incredible. Bai Hung had made chili fried rabbit with diced meat. Perfect rice companion. Mo Huan had gone out to catch fresh small game, since there was still daylight. After dinner, I dragged Bai Hung outside for some fresh air. A spiky ball the size of a football rolled to my feet. What's this? A scratching fruit. The cubs play with it. I looked up and saw two chubby baby tigers waddling toward us, too scared to come close. They were arguing in tiny beast growls. I couldn't understand animal speech, but their body language was clear. Neither wanted to approach the scary uncle Bai Hung. I crouched down and waved them over. Is this yours? Come take it. They crept forward on wobbly little paws and batted at their toy. I nearly died from cuteness overload. The two baby tigers thanked me. At least that's what Bai Hung translated. I couldn't understand beast speak, but their little roars were adorable. Can I pet you? I asked. They nodded their fuzzy heads. They were round, chubby, and impossibly soft. Nothing like petting a full-grown tiger. They chased each other around me until I was laughing so hard my stomach hurt. Bai Hung watched with a gentle look, probably imagining our own cub someday. When it got dark, the little ones shook their heads at my dinner invitation. Their mom would worry. I reluctantly let go of their fur and asked Bai Hung to walk them home. He came back quickly, carrying several of those spiky balls. He'd remembered me eyeing them curiously and grabbed a few on the way back. Look but don't touch. The spines are sharp. I poked one with a stick. These look familiar. Open one for me. He squeezed one open with his bare hand. I grabbed his fingers to check for injuries. Nothing. Not even a scratch. These beast men were truly built different. Even those two little cubs were tougher than me. Inside the spiky shell sat about 3 pounds of chestnuts.
Actual chestnuts.
Edible. Taste, sweet. I was thrilled. More recipes. Since we'd already eaten dinner, and I had no sugar, I went simple, boiled them with a sprinkle of salt. The sweet, warm aroma nearly made me drool. Finally, I had a snack food. And it was one of my favorites from back home. I popped one into Bai Hung's mouth. Good, good. Males preferred meat, but anything hand-fed by your mate was automatically delicious. I ate a few, then stopped myself. Chestnuts are heavy on the stomach. Then I suggested we share some with the two cubs tomorrow as a thank you for playing with me. Bai Hung agreed easily. But since the chestnut trees grew inside the tribe's territory, I reminded him to check with the chief about how to distribute them. Wild food was finders keepers, but tribe resources needed approval. I didn't have grand ambitions to save anyone, but I couldn't help being a people pleaser. If someone showed me even a little kindness, I had to give something back or I'd feel itchy all over. That evening, Mo Huan still wasn't home. I poked my head out of the cave for the 3rd time. Where is he? Don't worry. Check your beast mark. You can feel his life force through it. If he were in danger, it would change. I focused on the snake mark on my wrist.
Calm. Steady.
He was fine, just far away. What I didn't know was that Mo Huan had just finished killing 2 8th-rank rare beasts and was about to head home when he sensed a 6th-rank one nearby. Rare beasts meant crystal stones and beast cores, too valuable to pass up. He chased after it. And somewhere out in the wilderness, 2 young beast men were running for their lives from a 7th-rank monster. Lu Qi and Ling San, deer and antelope brothers, both only 4th-rank herbivore beast men. They were hopelessly outmatched. Ling San had been kicked into a tree, coughing blood. Lu Qi tried to carry him, but the creature was toying with them, chasing them down, swatting them around like entertainment. Their elemental powers were long drained. They were running on pure survival instinct. Leave me. Run, Ling San said, hopeless.
No.
We die together then, Lucci refused. They'd been sent on this dangerous errand alone because Lucci had upset their shared female mate. She'd punished them by sending them without their stronger co-husbands. Both brothers were non-matched mates, low-status herbivores that the other beast husbands bullied freely. Their female didn't care enough to stop it. "Brother, I don't blame you," Ling San said weakly. "Our mate isn't bad. We're just too weak. Strength is all that matters here, but even knowing that, who wants to die if they can live?" Meanwhile, out in the wilderness, Mo Huan had stumbled across those two herbivore brothers being chased by a 7th-rank monster. He killed it in seconds, drove his tail straight through its skull, dug out the beast core, and turned to leave without a word. He hadn't even meant to save them. He was just hunting. The dear brother Lucci screamed thanks after him, but Mo Huan ignored him completely. Then the antelope brother Ling San called out, "We have food that females can eat." Mo Huan teleported back in front of them. "Hand it over." They gave him a big bundle of something called joint grass. He tossed them the beast core he'd just extracted and vanished. They didn't even get to explain how to cook it. Back home, I was standing at the cave entrance peering into complete darkness. Beast World nights were terrifying, no moon, just a few stars and the occasional glowing plant. I kept poking my head out while Bai Heng sat beside me, making small talk to distract me. Finally, I saw Mo Huan's silhouette and ran out to him. He caught me and scolded me gently. "What if you tripped? You and Bai Heng would catch me," I said, smiling against his chest. He made me promise not to wait up next time. I agreed, but also told both of them not to come home so late. What I didn't mention was that I'd only stayed up because my afternoon nap left me wide awake. The next morning, I actually woke up early for once. I found Mo Huan cooking breakfast and hugged him from behind. He kissed my forehead and told me to go wash up. On my way out, I slapped his backside and bolted. His entire pale face turned crimson. I found Bai Heng outside drying those joint grass stalks Mo Huan had brought back. They looked like 2-meter-long bamboo segments. He explained that when dried, you could shake powder out of them. Not very tasty, but females used it as emergency food during the last days of winter, when everything ran out. It was grown by a tribe called the Green Grass Tribe, who traded it for salt before winter. I was surprised, a tribe that actually farmed. I definitely wanted to visit them someday. Over breakfast, I noticed Bai Heng wasn't getting ready to hunt. Mo Huan had gone out instead. Why did you two switch? The joint grass has to be dried immediately, or it rots." Then he told me the real reason. Tomorrow the tribe was organizing its pre-winter hunt, a big expedition deep into the dark night forest. Before winter, rare beasts entered a restless period, making them easier to find but also more dangerous. The hunters would go after beast cores and crystal stones, critical supplies in case any female got sick during the cold months. As the tribe's top young warrior, well, second strongest now that Mo Huan was around, Bai Heng had to lead the expedition. It was his duty as the chief's son. I didn't argue. He'd protected this tribe his whole life, and the tribe had sheltered me. That was how it worked. And honestly, having the strongest fighter lead meant fewer casualties. As for Mo Huan joining the group hunt, a lone wolf snake beastman coordinating with a tiger squad, that would be asking too much of everyone involved. I poked at the dried joint grass stalks on the ground. They were rock hard. How could females eat this? Bai Heng broke one open at the joint to show me. Inside was packed with powder. "You can try a tiny bit. It doesn't taste good." I dipped a finger in and tasted it. My brain short-circuited. This was flour. Actual flour. The wheat stalks here had mutated, no grain heads, just powder growing directly inside segmented tubes. The color was more oat-like than white, which was why I hadn't recognized it at first. I nearly cried from joy. Both staple foods, rice and flour, finally unlocked. My northern Chinese stomach had been suffering through rice-only meals for weeks. Bai Heng started putting the flour away, and I grabbed his arm. "I want to eat this today. Yin, it's not good. It'll make you choke, and too much gives you stomach pain. How about chestnut braised poultry instead?" "Nice try, tiger." "That's going on the table too. This is delicious if you cook it right. You can't just eat it raw." He nodded sheepishly. They'd been eating it raw this whole time. Of course they had. I wanted to scream, but then I understood. When every mouthful of food is brought home at the risk of someone's life, you don't experiment. You don't waste. I'd only had the luxury of being creative because I landed 2 high-rank husbands from day one. I felt ashamed of myself for almost acting entitled. I said seriously. If you boil this powder in water with a little salt, females and children can all eat it. It fills you up and keeps you warm. He understood immediately. I'll tell father tonight. Then a visitor arrived, a beast man delivering a thank you gift from a female named Manhwa, the mother of those 2 baby tigers I'd played with. Inside the leather pouch were little pink fruits the size of dates. I sniffed one, tasted it. Peanuts. The locals had been hiding treasures all along. Time for the main event. Bai Hung brought over a basin of flour. Way too much, probably 10 pounds from a single stalk. I had him portion some out, add cold water and a pinch of salt, and knead it into dough. His first attempt was a disaster. Too much water, then too much flour, ending up with an enormous ball. But his strength made quick work of the kneading. I poked the dough. Good texture. Now let it rest. Rest? The dough sleeps. He looked confused, but obeyed. I had him carve a smooth rolling pin, then we made a noodle sauce together. I was short on ingredients, no mushrooms, no eggs, no soy sauce. I improvised with pork-like meat, potatoes, onion, and ginger. Thank goodness I'd saved some potato starch. The thick, sticky soul of proper noodle sauce was preserved. Bai Hung rolled the dough into a perfectly square sheet. Of course he did. These beast men, and their inhuman sense of symmetry. 2 steaming bowls of hand-cut noodles in thick meat sauce soon sat before me. The color wasn't pretty without soy sauce, but the smell was heavenly. So good, I mumbled between slurps. Nothing heals the soul like a warm bowl of noodles. Bai Hung was eating with his head down, completely absorbed. He'd clearly never felt this full from joint grasp before. I could practically see him thinking, must get father to trade for more. After we finished, I started to say I knew many other flour recipes and maybe the tribe should. No, Bai Hung cut me off gently. Just tell them it can be boiled. That's enough. Yen, don't overthink it. Food is precious. Everyone keeps their own methods. No one will judge you for it. So, he'd noticed my guilt. I let it go. He was right. Every family in this world had survival secrets they kept close. If beast men shared everything freely, they'd have gone extinct long ago. That evening, Mo Huan came home, and I was still buzzing with happiness about having flour. I was already planning to try making steamed buns. But before I could share my plans, Mo Huan had already swept me up, and we were both flying. In a very different sense. Yen, I'm leaving. Bai Hung kissed my forehead. I mumbled something in my sleep and rolled over. By the time I woke up at noon, he was already gone on the tribe's big hunting expedition. I hadn't even said goodbye, and it was entirely Mo Huan's fault for keeping me up too late. I sat up and glared at him. He just smiled wider. Infuriating. I couldn't push him off, couldn't beat him in a fight, and when cornered, he'd play pitiful. My poor back was the real victim here. I know I was wrong, he said, leaning close. I pressed a finger against his lips and pushed him back. You know you were wrong, but will you do it again? He just smiled and said nothing. I couldn't stay mad. When he first arrived, he'd been so cold and brooding, barely smiled, always overthinking, always wondering if I'd reject him. Now look at him. This was better. I'm hungry. After lunch, I was restless. Same vegetables every day, cabbage, potato, radish. I needed a change of scenery. Can we go for a walk? I'm bored. Mo Huan put down his work immediately. I suggested the red berry forest behind the tribe. There was a river there, and a river meant fish, and Mo Huan had lightning power, which meant I tried walking on my own at first. After all those nights of cardio with 2 beast husbands, surely I was tougher now. Half an hour later, Mama, he scooped me up without a word. I'd been a fool to think I could keep up. Can your ability do the zappy thing? I asked. Zappy, you know, the crackling, sparky thing. I think so. He tossed a lightning ball into the river. Instantly, hundreds of fish floated belly up to the surface. Big ones over a meter long, small ones everywhere. My jaw dropped. Good thing Beast World electric fishing wasn't illegal, or we'd both be in court. He dumped the entire haul onto the bank. How do we cook them? I taught him to gut and scale, then wandered off to look for greens along the riverbank. I'd been dying for something fresh, water celery, water spinach, anything. I pushed aside a big leaf and came face to face with a toad, half a meter long, oozing green and purple goo. I screamed. Mo Huan was beside me in an instant, pulling me into his chest. What happened? I'm here. I'm fine. Just saw something ugly, and it startled me. Not hurt. He whipped the toad into the distance with his tail.
Gone.
My scream had attracted several females who'd been playing nearby. They rushed over with their beast husbands, looking concerned. A tall, dark-skinned girl asked, "Are you okay?" I was a bit socially anxious. I'd barely talked to anyone besides my 2 husbands for days. But I managed. I'm fine, just got scared. I'm China. Ming-na is my sister. I heard you discovered that the spiky fruits are edible. That's impressive. I was confused about why she brought that up. She explained, nobody shares their food sources here. Every extra bite means another chance at surviving. What you did was special. Oh, so that was how they saw it. A short, round girl chimed in. You should come hang out with us sometimes. Staying alone in your cave too much can make a female sick. Okay, I nodded. Dwaya says you can cook spikefish. Is it really good? Asked a pale girl sitting on a tiger's back. They started chattering all at once, one question after another. I couldn't get a word in. Apparently Dwaya had been spreading legends about me throughout the tribe. Before I knew it, we were all sitting around a campfire by the river. Their beast husbands had caught fish too, copying Mo Huan's technique, and borrowed my onion and ginger to grill them. The smell spread everywhere. Dwaya was right, this little female really is amazing. It smells incredible. I'm drooling already. Listening to them chatter and laugh, I realized I'd been way too much of a hermit since arriving here. I really should get out more. Girls were lovely, no matter what world you were in. After the grilled fish picnic, I asked Mo Huan if he'd seen anything else in the river when he zapped it. There were some blue long worm things with shells. They turned red when I shocked them. Shrimp. Those were shrimp. Good news, he'd seen them. Bad news. He'd ignored them, and they were already dead from the lightning. Let's go back tomorrow. I want to eat those. I'll go get them right now. He set me down, and his legs started transforming into a snake tail. I grabbed his tail and squeezed it.
Come back.
I said tomorrow. It's late, let's go home. His face turned bright red. Please let go first. Oh? Interesting reaction. I squeezed it again. His face got even redder, and I could feel him trembling slightly. This was very fun to squeeze. I forced myself to let go before I got carried away. Beast men were still walking past us. Mo Huan immediately turned his tail back into legs, scooped me up, and marched home at top speed. Slow down, I'm scared. He held me tighter. Walked faster. I shut my mouth. Every word I said was apparently making things worse. By the time he was hovering over me back in the cave, I realized I'd pushed too far. Not tonight. Tonight is Bai Hung's turn. He's not coming back tonight. Still no. He buried his face in my neck. When winter comes, I'll hibernate and won't be able to be with you. Please. Be kind to me. There's a saying back home, feel sorry for a man and you'll be unlucky your whole life. He got me with that voice. I gave in again and again. When I woke up, it was noon. Again. I stared at my arms, covered in little bruises. No way was I going outside looking like this. The next few days settled into a routine. I had Mo Huan catch shrimp for me. They were forearm length with harder shells than back home, but tasted incredible, especially dried into snacks with their natural sweetness. I also checked on my cured meat. The first batch was drying beautifully. No off smells. Success. As temperatures dropped noticeably, I started spending evenings huddled by the fire wrapped in fur, nibbling dried shrimp. I noticed Mo Huan keeping his distance from me more and more. When I touched him, he'd flinch away. When he handed me things, he'd avoid contact with my skin. It was the cold-blooded problem. He was getting colder as winter approached, and he didn't want to freeze me. I scooted closer to him. He instinctively leaned toward me, then caught himself and shifted away. I ignored his awkwardness and leaned against him anyway. Does sleeping on the heated bed with me hurt you? It did. It was like having a fever, his blood burning from the heat. But he said, "It doesn't hurt, liar." I'd seen his skin flush an unhealthy red several times. He explained that snakes can regulate their body temperature but give off cold air doing it. So when he slept beside me, he turned off his own cooling system to avoid chilling me, which meant the heated bed essentially cooked him. I couldn't fix this right away, but I had an idea. If I wore long sleeves and pants, his cool skin wouldn't touch mine directly, and he wouldn't need to shut off his temperature control. "Mama, did you see the clothes I was wearing when you first found me?" He reached into his storage space and pulled out a leather-wrapped bundle. Inside were my jeans, my t-shirt, my sneakers, the clothes I'd been wearing when I fell into the river. My eyes stung. These were probably my last connection to that world. He pulled me into his arms. "I don't know where you came from. Your presence just appeared out of nowhere. I changed your clothes so nobody would think you were different." He'd been protecting my secret from the very beginning. I took a moment to steady myself. I would live well in this world. My 23 years in the old one hadn't given me a single happy day. But they taught me everything I needed to survive here, and that knowledge was my greatest strength. I would always remember. But I would also keep moving forward. I pointed at my old jeans and asked Mo Huan if he could make something similar. He studied the design and nodded. I also suggested he try making a long-sleeve jacket with buttons down the front. Why didn't I make it myself? Please. We're talking about thick animal hide, bone needles, and spider silk thread that only beastman claws can cut. I knew my role now. I wasn't the overworked office girl everyone could boss around anymore. I was the precious little wife who got praised for eating an extra bite of food. I'd gotten spoiled, and I was fine with it. That night I leaned against Mo Huan by the fire, wondering when Bai Hung would come home. 3 days already. The next morning I found a complete outfit waiting on my pillow. A soft light brown leather jacket, a little tank top underneath, and long pants. The buttons were polished beast bone, smooth to the touch. I pulled on Bai Hung's handmade leather boots and felt like a completely different person, stylish and sharp. I pinned my hair up with a twig and turned around to find Mo Huan standing right behind me, staring. "Why are you looking at me like that? Beautiful," he managed, his throat bobbing. I dragged him to breakfast before his eyes set me on fire. I had a rare early meal, porridge with dried shrimp. Mo Huan's cooking was honestly average. He'd copied Bai Hung's recipe step by step, but the food never tasted quite as good. I decided not to challenge him with new dishes. No point breaking his confidence and then having to comfort him. After breakfast, he went back to his fish-curing project. My porch was lined with drying fish. I'd created a monster. My cool, mysterious snake husband had become the beast world equivalent of an obsessive fishing hobbyist. I was about to nap when beast roars erupted from the settlement. Mo Huan was at my side instantly, legs transforming into a snake tail. "The hunting party is back. Some are injured. Is it Bai Hung? Let's go see." "It's not him. Don't worry." He carried me to the square. A crowd had gathered around several wounded beast men on the ground. But before I could get close, I felt something watching me. I scanned the area and spotted a huge eagle staring straight at me with an intense, almost hostile look. What was his problem? I didn't know him. I turned away and buried my face in Mo Huan's chest. Bai Hung noticed us and started walking over. Then, out of nowhere, a red blur launched itself toward me at full speed. Mo Huan's tail whipped out and smacked it flying. The eagle immediately spread its wings and dove to catch the red thing before it hit the ground. The whole square went silent. Everyone stared. Bai Hung reached us first. "Are you okay? Did that scare you?" I shook my head. Mo Huan's reflexes were too fast for me to even register fear. I checked Bai Hung for injuries. He was fine.
"What just happened? Who are those two?"
One was glaring at me and the other charged straight at me. From a distance, the eagle had transformed into a tall man and was pulling the fox, now revealed as a small red fox beast, out of the dirt where Mo Huan's tail had planted it. I noticed the eagle man's fingers tighten when he heard me say, "Who are those two?" Bai Heng stopped Mo Huan's tail mid-swing as it prepared for round two. "They're Yen Yen's beast husbands." "Oh." Mo Huan retracted his tail and flicked it casually. He'd known. He hit the fox on purpose. That's what you get for charging at his mate without warning. My beast husbands. The eagle and the fox. One had been glaring daggers at me, and the other had wordlessly torpedoed himself in my direction. My future suddenly looked very chaotic. The red fox finally reached me unobstructed this time. He sat before me looking deeply wronged, enormous with eyes doing maximum puppy, well, fox mode. His red fur was messy and mud-streaked, the 3 white markings on his forehead puffed up like he'd been electrocuted, and his expression was pure theatrical heartbreak. I burst out laughing. The little fox looked so offended that I'd laughed at him, but Bai Heng cut him off before he could complain. "Let's go home first." He said it to the fox, but his eyes were on the eagle. Both newcomers settled down. Bai Heng stayed behind briefly to handle the injured hunters. Apparently, the hunting party had run into a pack of 7th-rank rare beasts on their way back and nearly suffered serious losses until the eagle and fox showed up and helped fight them off. Only a few injuries, which was the best outcome they could have hoped for. I sat in Mo Huan's arms, avoiding eye contact with both newcomers. It wasn't entirely my fault I didn't recognize them. I'd never seen their faces before. My sense of smell was basically useless, and the beast mark connection was too faint without having made it. Who checks on their husband's status every 5 minutes anyway? I convinced myself I had nothing to be embarrassed about. Mo Huan tightened his arms around me. "It's not your fault." "I know," I said, fully righteous now. When Bai Heng came back, I asked the 2 newcomers, "Do you want to come home with me?" The eagle froze. Apparently, he'd been mentally rehearsing hundreds of scenarios for how to win my acceptance. That split-second hesitation cost him, because the fox jumped in immediately.
"Yes."
"Yes, I do." The dirty little fox transformed into human form. He was pale-skinned with big round eyes and a natural smile-shaped mouth that made you like him instantly. Short red hair gave him a youthful energy, and 3 white streaks at his hairline added a wild edge. He ran up to me properly this time, no charging. "I'm Hua, from the Fox clan." "Yen Yen, I missed you so much." He held out his right hand, and a tiny plant sprouted from his palm, grew a stem, and bloomed into a red phoenix tail flower right before my eyes. My jaw dropped. Was this a superpower world or a magic world? I wanted to learn this trick. "For you," he said. "It's good for your skin if you eat it." "Thank you." I took the flower and his grin turned absolutely goofy. Apparently this was his clan's bonding flower, only given to the female they'd chosen. By accepting it, I'd accepted him. I turned to the silent eagle. Everyone stared at him too. He transformed into human form. Where Hua was the cute boy next door type, this one was pure cold CEO energy. Sharp, deep-set eyes, thin pressed lips, high nose bridge, almost mixed race looking. Intimidatingly handsome. "I'm willing to, Yen Yen. As long as you'll have me." "I'm Ling Chuan, Eagle Beast Man." That last line, "as long as you'll have me," was pure emotional manipulation, and I knew it. I snapped out of my beauty daze. Clever bird. "Then let's go home." On the walk back, Hua never stopped talking. He described his excitement at being matched, everything he'd seen on his journey here, every thought in his head. Give him one word of response, and he'd run with it for 10 minutes. Life was definitely not going to be quiet anymore. Ling Chuan stayed silent, but kept watching me. We exchanged a look. "Me. You were glaring at me earlier." "Him. I can explain." At home, the newcomers were first stunned by the wall of cured meat and fish drying outside. Even Bai Heng looked shocked. Mo Huan had apparently emptied the entire river. "So much spikefish." "Do you like spikefish?" "I'll catch them for you too." Hua volunteered instantly. "We have enough dried fish for now. Just catch fresh ones when I want some." I was genuinely worried they'd make the river species go extinct. Inside the cave, both newcomers' eyes went wide at the furnished rooms, the kitchen, the heated platform. They sat down next to me like obedient puppies. Bai Heng poured everyone lemon water. Chi Hua immediately started sniffing his cup like a curious child. Ling Chuan took my cup, spun a few tiny wind funnels over it to cool it down, and handed it back to me. Sensing ability, he said. Useful. Sharp. He'd figured out my power in one glance. Ling Chuan, do mine too. Chi Hua shoved his cup forward. Ling Chuan cooled everyone's drinks without complaint. Wind element, that's really handy, I said. Ling Chuan's lips curved into a small smile. As long as he was useful to me, he could stay. Chi Hua immediately got jealous. Look at me. I'm wood element. I can grow flowers. And I have healing powers. Oh, a healer? Didn't look the part at all. I clapped my hands. Our Chi Hua is so talented. Flowers and healing. Amazing. He puffed up his chest proudly, but his red ears and the fox tail that popped out behind him gave away how flustered he really was. Bai Heng smiled at their antics and went to cook. Mo Huan followed him to the kitchen. What do you think? Mo Huan asked quietly. They're good. Both of them, Bai Heng nodded. The eagle was strong and could fly, perfect for scouting and transport. The fox had wood element healing, invaluable for emergencies. They'd both jumped into a dangerous fight to help strangers without hesitation. They could stay. In the kitchen, Bai Heng and Mo Huan had been quietly evaluating the newcomers. They knew I couldn't hear them from the living room. Chi Hua didn't care that they were discussing him. Ling Chuan was more cautious. He knew those two could easily block him from ever getting close to me if they wanted. You can look around, I told Chi Hua. This is your home now too. His eyes lit up. Home? I like that word. He bounced off to explore every corner, leaving me alone with Ling Chuan. His intense stare was making me fidget. You can go look around with Chi Hua. No rush. There'll be plenty of time. I decided to stop being polite. Ling Chuan, please don't stare at me like that. It makes me nervous. He blinked, then quickly looked away. Sorry, you don't need to apologize. I just need time to adjust. Then he explained his eagle eyes could see incredibly far. He hadn't been glaring at me in the square. He'd just spotted me from a great distance and been watching. I wanted to crawl into a hole. I'd been talking about him, glaring, and he'd heard the whole thing with those super ears. Your eyes aren't scary, I said quickly. I'm just not used to it. That's okay. He refilled my cup gently. The awkwardness slowly melted. Asked about their backgrounds. Ling Chuan came from Eagle Cliff on the far western continent. He'd flown here after the matching. Chi Hua was from a Red Fox clan in the south. Ling Chuan had found him at the border between continents, being chased by fallen beast men, and rescued him. But why was Chi Hua way out there in the first place? I asked. Because he didn't know the way. A red blur slammed into Ling Chuan and sent him flying. Chi Hua had charged across the room to shut him up. I jumped up in alarm, but Ling Chuan wasn't hurt. The fox hadn't used real force. Still, Bai Heng and Mo Huan appeared instantly. Mo Huan pulled me into his arms protectively while Bai Heng stepped forward. You're fighting in front of a female. His usually gentle voice was sharp as a blade. I wanted to smooth things over, but Mo Huan held me back. Bai Heng needed to establish authority as the head of this household. I understood and stayed quiet. Chi Hua immediately stood at attention before Bai Heng. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I won't do it again. Every single one of us stared at him. That apology was way too practiced. This fox was definitely a repeat offender. Ling Chuan rubbed his arm. It won't happen again. Bai Heng's expression softened slightly. They could fight each other to the death in the wild for all he cared, but not in front of me. I was fragile. He and Mo Huan had spent weeks nursing me back to health, and these two newcomers nearly undid it all on day one. Mo Huan squeezed my hand, my signal. I jumped in. How long until dinner? He kissed my forehead. Almost ready. As Mo Huan followed him to the kitchen, he passed the two newcomers and gave them a single cold look. They both understood perfectly. Bai Heng would lecture. Mo Huan would just kill them in the forest someday. Come sit, you two. It's fine. I waved them over. Bai Heng is just protective. He's not targeting you. When he first found me, I was so sick I almost didn't wake up. He's been scared ever since. They looked concerned, so I added, I'm all better now. I figured Hua didn't want to talk about why he'd ended up lost in dangerous territory, so I changed the subject. But he surprised me by speaking up himself. I just got lost, that's all. I'm embarrassed that a grown male can't find his way, so I asked Ling Chuan not to tell anyone. Am I anyone? Ling Chuan said coolly. One sentence, and the fox was destroyed. His ears turned red. Yen, I didn't mean you're not. I wasn't saying. I wanted to keep teasing him, but I also didn't want to push too far and actually hurt his feelings. Ling Chuan was just joking, I said, smoothing Hua's ruffled feathers before the puppy actually cried. Yes, Ling Chuan nodded, then added calmly, also, you told me not to tell other males. Yen is a female. I kept my promise. Hua thought about it seriously.
Oh.
That's true. Sorry. Just like that, he bounced back. This fox could bend without breaking. Ling Chuan winked at me. I understood now. He told me about Hua's terrible sense of direction on purpose. Since I'd inevitably be alone with the fox sometimes, I needed to know he wasn't the most reliable navigator. A subtle warning wrapped in teasing. Dinner was incredible. Bai Hung and Mo Huan had gone all out: chestnut braised poultry, radish pork bone soup, dry-fried rabbit, steamed fish, boiled shrimp, spicy shredded potatoes, sour spicy cabbage, garlic greens, rice, and hand-pulled noodles just for me. The newcomer sat at the table, Hua nervously next to Mo Huan, Ling Chuan calmly beside Bai Hung. I noticed Ling Chuan glance at Hua's seating choice with something like pity. The fox was scared of Bai Hung, who'd scolded him, so he sat far away, not realizing the snake right next to him was the actually dangerous one. I caught myself staring at my 4 husbands, each gorgeous in completely different ways. Bai Hung, gentle caretaker. Mo Huan, brooding with hidden depths. Ling Chuan, sharp and perceptive. Hua, sunshine in fox form. Life was good. The silence snapped me out of my daydream. I scrambled for my chopsticks, trying to look busy. Try the spicy dishes first. If you can't handle the heat, eat the other ones, I told the newcomers. What's spicy? Hua scooped a big spoonful of the dry-fried meat and shoved it in his mouth. His eyes instantly watered, the corners turning bright red. He started panting. Ha ha ha. I told him to spit it out. He refused. It's so good. Ha ha ha. Then immediately scooped another spoonful. This fox was something else. Ling Chuan handled the chopsticks decently for a first-timer and gave me a quiet nod when I checked on him. Good enough. When I put my chopsticks down, Bai Hung, Mo Huan, and Ling Chuan all stopped eating too. But Hua? He kept going, cleaned every single dish. While we all watched him, he cheerfully complimented the cooks between bites, unleashing an avalanche of praise. Aren't you full? Not at all. This is the best food I've ever eaten in my entire life. He was completely sincere. Fine, eat as much as you want. It's your home, no need to be polite. Watching him eat with such pure joy actually made me hungry again. I had a feeling this fox would be a wonderful dining companion. Bai Hung looked at me smiling at Hua, then at Hua inhaling food, and I could practically see him thinking, great, now I have 2 children to feed. After dinner, Hua volunteered to wash dishes without being asked. While he was gone, I mentally tallied my husband's abilities: fire, lightning, wind, wood. No water element. The missing wolf husband must have water or ice powers. Speaking of him, somewhere far away, a silver wolf named Zhe was locked in his clan's underground prison, walls crackling with electricity that countered his ice abilities. He'd been throwing himself against the walls until his body was covered in burns, growing weaker each time. He was ready to give up, believing this was his fate, the same tragic destiny as his father. Then the wall shattered. A voice said, "Go. Don't come back. I hope you find the happiness you're looking for." I knew nothing about any of this. After my bath, I walked through the living room and found 2 hopeful faces staring at me, Hua and Ling Chuan.
Oh, right.
I'd forgotten about sleeping arrangements. The husband's bedroom was still an uncarved stone wall. Before, Bai Hung and Mo Huan had taken turns, one sleeping with me, the other on the couch. Now there were 4 males and still no extra rooms. The newcomers weren't expecting their own bedrooms. They'd have happily slept in beast form in any corner. What they were really hoping was that I'd take one of them to bed with me tonight. From across the room, Mo Huan reclined on the couch with his eyes closed and let out a quiet, mocking laugh. In their dreams. I was still figuring out where to put the two newcomers when Bai Heng came out, scooped me up, and carried me to bed. I tried to say something about Chi Hua and Ling Chuan, but he kissed me quiet. Ma Huan will handle it. Don't worry. That was the last coherent thought I had that night. Bai Heng had been gone for days, and was enthusiastic. I never even got to ask about the sleeping arrangements. The next morning, I stretched lazily and turned my head, and came face to face with two enormous eyeballs inches from my pillow. I screamed. He screamed.
It was Chi Hua.
He'd somehow snuck past Mo Huan and was crouching beside my bed, staring at my sleeping face. Bai Heng appeared instantly, grabbed the fox by the scruff, and hurled him out of the room. Don't be scared. He pulled me into his arms. I'm fine, he just startled me. Don't be too hard on him. I could feel Bai Heng's anger meter climbing fast. A red head poked back through the doorway. I didn't mean to. I held Bai Heng down with one hand and waved Chi Hua away with the other. He retreated reluctantly. I know you're worried about me. Go ahead and smack him later to teach him a lesson, I said, shaking my little fist for emphasis. Bai Heng laughed. Outside, Chi Hua wailed. He'd clearly heard my suggestion. At breakfast, I found beautifully grilled meat waiting. Chi Hua popped up immediately. I made those. Try them. I took a bite. The meat had been marinated in something herbal, no gamey smell at all, just a subtle woody fragrance. Like fruitwood smoked barbecue. Actually quite good. I cleaned the plate and praised him. His eyes sparkled. How does it compare to Bai Heng's cooking? I saw Bai Heng's head turn toward me.
Danger.
Bai Heng's cooking is amazing. He makes so many things I love. Subject changed. Bai Heng turned back to his porridge, satisfied. Chi Hua didn't catch my dodge and happily asked Bai Heng to teach him cooking. Bai Heng agreed immediately. If the fox could cook, he could be put on kitchen duty instead of causing chaos. While domestic life continued at home, Mo Huan and Ling Chuan had gone hunting together. I didn't know what happened between them until much later. Apparently, Ling Chuan had made an observation while they walked. He'd noticed I was different, that I treated my husbands as equals instead of servants, that I knew things no one in this world knew, that our home was full of inventions no other tribe had. He started to say, "She has a sec." He never finished. Mo Huan's tail sent him crashing through several trees. Lightning followed immediately. Mo Huan was trying to kill him. Ling Chuan barely dodged, half his body scorched by electricity, and flew into the sky in eagle form. He was 7th rank against Mo Huan's 8th, outmatched but fast enough in the air to survive. Would you really kill her beast husband? How would she feel if one mate murdered another? That made Mo Huan pause. Ling Chuan explained desperately, I only want to protect her. She knows too much, and if word gets out, it'll bring danger. Wind shadow eagles bond for life with their mates. I would never betray her. If you ever have any other intentions, I will kill you, Mo Huan said coldly. I swear. Mo Huan calmed down. Ling Chuan collapsed to the ground, gasping. Half his back burned from lightning. He'd only been curious and said one careless word too many. But now he knew for certain. I had a secret, and the snake would die to protect it. From the kitchen came a symphony of crashes and bangs, followed by Bai Heng's voice at a volume I'd never heard before. Get out. Chi Hua flew out of the kitchen, did a backflip, and landed on his feet. He stood there frozen, looking crushed. I felt bad for him. It's okay, Chi Hua. You don't need to learn cooking. Your grilled meat is already delicious. His puppy eyes lit up instantly. He rushed over. Really? Then I'll grill for you every meal. That was not what I meant. If you're grilling every meal, you won't have time to hang out with me. Just grill when I ask, okay? He thought about it, found the key point. So you don't want my grilling every meal? Don't you want to spend time with me? I countered. Of course I do. Okay, I'll listen to you. Crisis averted. Parenting was exhausting. But honestly, having Chi Hua around made the cave feel alive. The noise and energy were nice. We sat together snacking on chestnuts and peanuts. He'd peel one for me, stuff two in his own mouth. His cheeks puffed out like a hamster. Unlike Bai Heng and Mo Huan, who barely touched anything that was a meat, Chihua devoured everything with equal enthusiasm. Foxes were omnivores, that explained it. I pushed my pile of peeled nuts toward him. You eat these, I'm done. He froze. Did I eat too much? I'll stop, you have them. No, I'm just full. If I snack too much before dinner, Bai Heng worries. He relaxed and started eating again. How old are you, Chihua? Just turned 18. I got matched to you the day after my coming-of-age ceremony. My parents kicked me out right away to come find you. 18. I'd assumed he was at least 20, with that nearly 2-meter frame.
But no.
He was genuinely young, not just baby-faced, but an actual baby. You're so young, I sighed. I'm not young. His hand moved toward the edge of his fur skirt, as if to prove a point. I slapped it down before things went south. I meant your AG. He turned red and suddenly got very busy with his chestnuts. I changed the subject. That flower you grew in your hand yesterday, show me again. He held out his palm, and a flower bloomed in seconds. But this one was pink, not red like the one he'd given me. He explained that his clan, the Crimson Moon Fox tribe, each had a companion plant linked to their wood ability. They'd nurture one perfect bloom using their own heart's blood and give it to their chosen female. The flower granted permanent wood element protection, eternal youth, and rapid wound healing. My jaw dropped. That wasn't a flower, it was an immortality pill. Does every flower do that? No. Only the one made with heart's blood. A male can only create it once in his lifetime. He handed me the pink one. These regular ones just help with minor injuries. Wait, that red flower he'd casually tossed me yesterday was a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, and he didn't even mention it? Oh, by the way, he added cheerfully, the flower loses its power 3 days after being picked. Make sure you eat it, 3 days. He gave it to me yesterday. I sent him sprinting to my bedroom to fetch it. I just eat it. Just eat it. I put the flower in my mouth. The petals dissolved into warm energy flowing through my body. I don't feel anything different. Check my beast mark. I lifted my shirt to look at my belly. The little fox that had been a white outline was now vivid fiery red, the whole image alive and detailed, the same transformation that normally only happened after mating.
How?
The mark only changes after. Chihua puffed up proudly. It's our clan's special trait. When a female eats the heart-blood companion flower, it means she's accepted the male as her true partner. The mark changes just like it would after mating. So it's the same as mating? I asked. Exactly the same. I looked at Chihua, who was beaming with pride, completely unaware of what he'd skipped. Kid, you don't even know what you missed out on. And my beast mark can activate a protective energy shield around you if your life is ever in danger, he added, practically vibrating. Wow, that's amazing. I gave him the reaction he wanted. His invisible foxtail was wagging so hard I could almost see it. What he didn't tell me was that the shield burned his own life force as fuel. But knowing him, he probably didn't care. Lunch, Bai Heng called, rescuing us from Chihua's increasingly energetic show and tell. Thanks to the fox, lunch was later than usual. Chihua tiptoed past Bai Heng to sit beside me, nervously checking the tiger's expression. Bai Heng set a huge basin of food on the table, just for Chihua. The fox's eyes went wide. That's really for me. Keep staring and you won't get any. One look from Bai Heng, and the fox buried his face in his food bowl. After Chihua cleaned everything again, I whispered to Bai Heng. He eats more than all 5 of us combined yesterday. Is that normal? Males eat a lot. He could probably still eat 2 more whole animals after this. Chihua looked up. I can hear you, Yin Yin. We're just worried about you. Keep eating, don't waste food. Smooth recovery. Then something clicked. So all those meals you and Mo Huan eat with me, you never actually get full. We eat during hunts. 1 meal lasts us 2 or 3 days. They'd been eating my dainty portions every day just to keep me company, never once complaining. My heart squeezed. At nap time, I tried to sleep, but someone kept poking my face and checking if I was breathing. After the 13th time, I opened my eyes. Hua struck first. Can't sleep? I would have been asleep ages ago if you'd stopped touching my face. But I couldn't scold him. Bai Heng had told him to watch me, and he was following orders with military precision. I needed a different approach. Hua, wanna eat fresh fish tonight? Bai Heng makes the best grilled fish. Yes, then go catch some at the river behind the mountain. But we have dried fish outside. Fresh tastes better. Really? But Bai Heng told me to watch you. He'll be back soon. Tell him on your way to hurry home. He wavered. I delivered the killing blow. Please? I want fish that you caught. 10 pounds of adrenaline hit his system. He was gone in a flash. I rolled over and fell asleep instantly. Parenting was exhausting. 2 peaceful hours later, I woke up and found Hua sitting on a cushion across the room, staring at me from a distance. Why are you sitting way over there? He zoomed over to put my shoes on. Bai Heng said, I'm not allowed to get close and stare while you sleep because it scares you. He said I can only come over when you talk to me first. I laughed. Bai Heng was thorough, and this fox was obedient. You really listen to everything Bai Heng says. If it makes sense, sure. Plus he cooks well and gives me the big bowl. There it was, the real reasons. Are Mo Huan and Ling Chuan back yet? His eyes shifted.
There.
Processing today's hunt. Bai Heng said to eat first when you wake up. He was hiding something. I stared at him without speaking. He started to crack, but I let it go and suggested we boil some lemon water and wait for everyone. Half an hour later, 3 males walked through the door. I scanned them. Bai Heng looked calm, only worried I hadn't eaten. Ma Huan's face was unreadable, but his fingers kept curling. He was nervous. Ling Chuan had lost every ounce of yesterday's cool confidence and looked thoroughly guilty. So something had happened between those two. I checked them both for visible injuries. Nothing obvious. Fine. I'd let them come to me. After dinner, I found a piece of animal sinew and started playing cat's cradle with Hua. No. Thread it from the side. Like this? I did it. So clever. My turn. We played and laughed while Mo Huan and Ling Chuan sat nearby, growing more and more restless. Finally, they both spoke at the same time. Yin Yen. I turned and looked at them, waiting.